But yes, Ills. This is Ho Ills.
Good to meet you, bro.
Same, man. You're an impressive individual.
I hope so.
Super, like, definitely.
Word.
I don't know.
How
man.
long?
Like,
How long is this gonna be? I don't got nowhere to be. But
up to you, right? Like it usually, like it can run anywhere from like 1 to 2 hours to like 3 hours. You know, Penn went like 3.5, I think.
So it's up to y'all.
All right.
Yeah,
salutations, everybody.
Oh shoot, we're live. We're live.
We're live. We are live, folks.
What up, world?
Salutations, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Prspctvs podcast. We are your hosts. My name is Liddy Bro Flacko. Over here we have Holden Stefan Roy. Say hi, Holden.
Hi, Holden.
Today we have another illustrious guest, OZone legend. That's Orlando for all you who are uninformed of
I was uninformed.
Aliases. I realized that when I said it to Holden earlier. I was like, you're not aware that Orlando is called the Ozone. Orlando legend, Guerrilla Republik member, co-founder. I'm not sure. I guess
No.
We'll get into that.
I'm a general.
General, Guerrilla Republik general, grind time now, creator, founder, general indie fucking rap god, Mad Ills.
Hey, the Mexican goat.
Nah, very talented individual.
Word.
Thanks for having
absolutely.
me.
No, thank you for making time with us. We appreciate your time. We appreciate everybody's time to give it to us and to share your perspectives with us. Title. Real quick, the way that it goes, right, is like I do like our origin story, so like you can know where like this all came from. You're my homie, right? So like you know me, but like you're your first time meeting Holden Stefan Roy over here, right? The way that it goes is I was with Jesse. You know me and Jess James always with the fucking with the two tag team partnership and shit.
Yeah.
We got together with Paulie Hustle and we were like doing a project together, Liddy Bros, which like I'm still doing. And I told Jess to like fall back from like producing and engineering and just focus on rapping. And in that, I hired engineer friend of mine from Montreal, Merker Miyagi from Merker Studios up in Montreal. And he mixed down the project. And like Merker, like I tell people, he might as well have been like a New Yorker, right? Even though he like from Montreal, by way of Cali. But he's from Montreal. He doesn't share anybody's music that he works on. Like he's like a typical, right? Like New Yorkers is like, nah, because if I share one motherfucking shit, then I gotta share everybody's shit. And I don't co-sign everybody who I'm like letting pay me to mix down and engineer their music. You know what I'm saying? So like he doesn't ever share anybody's music that he works on, but he shared our shit and he shared it with a real cool caption, right? Like of like, you know, I've never like partied in New York, you know, or done like coke or something like that in New York. But like, if I were to do it, I would want to fucking do it with the Liddy Bros. You know what I mean? And like the video was totally like about like partying and doing fucking coke and wilding the fuck out, you know. And so it was a good pitch. And so Holden, who's on his page and does album reviews, right? He saw that post and he fucks with Merker, and so he was like, I'm gonna check this out. And he checked it out and he was adequately impressed to like want to do like an album review. And he did an album review and like the album review was so like thorough and in depth. Like, you know, when people like do just like a fucking like oh yeah, this is what I do album reviews, and like everything is like a blurb review, you know what I mean? Like no care put into the product at all type shit, you know what I'm saying? Not Holden. Like he had like an hour long and like breakdown track per track.
Oh,
and
that's
like
dope.
You know, like yeah, absolutely. And then like so like I saw that and I was like, yo, we should do an interview. And he was like, I was about to ask you if we could do an interview. And I was like, I guess we're on the same page. And we did the interview, and bro, I felt like I went to fucking therapy. I was like, why the fuck have I been doing rap for this long? And the interviews are always fucking like, when did you fall in love with hip hop? And like, fucking, would you would you join like the Love and Hip Hop cast type shit? Like, but it's always like, bro, really? These are the questions? Or like if like it's battle rap media, then like immediately battle rap relation of like whatever is happening in battle rap at the moment, which is like all cool, all fun. Like, yo, this is what we do. We're professionals. Like, we're gonna.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna turn down, you know, or like tell you how to do your job, but like, there's a lot more to all of our stories, I think, than just those things, right? And so me and Holden set out on this journey, and like we're like a year and change in, like on our 50. What are we at?
This is
now,
episode 55.
54, 55.
This is 55.
55.
Facts.
It's a nice number. It's a nice number.
Right.
Yeah, so here we are. So Holden has a bunch of questions that he likes to like, he you know what I mean, has his just way of doing it that like he loves to like go with, and I'm never gonna want to stop him, but I like to stop him before he gets started and be like, why don't you tell people your name, your what you're known as, where you're from, and where are your parents from?
Is that the question to me?
Yes, to you, sir. Matt Ills.
Well,
That's
I'm from the-
proper start. Proper
I already
start.
know.
Respect.
my name is Mad Ills. I'm out of Orlando, Florida. I was born in West Texas, but I moved to Florida when I was 2 years old. And have been living in Orlando, all over Orlando ever since. I'm 38 now. My parents, they're from West Texas. My mother's from West Texas, and my father is from Mexico. We left when I was 2 years old. My mother left my father, so he hasn't been like my stepfather has actually been there since I was a kid, since I was 2-3 years old. But yeah.
And you guys
What
still have a
else am I supposed
relationship.
to do?
And you guys still have a relationship. You hit all of them, and you guys still have a relationship.
Yeah. My
so
mother.
Then that's your pops. You already know how we get down. You know, like it's the person, the people that are there who are. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of the homies growing up who that's the scenario, and to this day, like good relationship. Even if Mom Dukes and dude might have divorced, they still got a good relation. You know what I mean? Because once you raise a kid like and you took responsibility during the pivotal ages, you're gonna be involved beyond that. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Holden.
All right, so now I got my little opening story thing. It's a question, but so it's a big old story first, so it'll take a minute or two to get through. When it lands, though, feel free to take it away, and just keep in mind that if you get this impulse to be like, nah, they might not care about that, ignore it and tell us anyway, because we definitely care about that. So with that, it all starts with my girlfriend, and she was washing the dishes one time. She got her phone open, and she's playing that Black Eyed Peas song. I got a feeling. Ooh. So she's vibing, she's dancing, she's doing her thing. And I'm looking at her, and I'm like, when the fuck did this song become chores music? Right? Because if you think about this song, you run it back like 10, 11 years. This is like that club song in the middle of the night. Everybody celebrating. The whole world loved this song. It was just the anthem of celebration. And then 10, 11 years goes by. The song doesn't change at all because it's a song. And we change so much as we grow older that the context of this song in our lives goes from celebration music to I'm doing something super boring like working out or some chores, and now I'm trying to get back to when I was celebrating 10, 11 years ago in my mind. And that tripped me out, right? Because like we don't think about music like that, and how we as artists be on these musical journeys, and that as life changes, our relationship with these songs changes as well. Like I think about the little 20-year-olds running around with the drills and whatnot, and they have no idea that this is their future chores music that they are listening to. They just think it's the lit stuff.
Facts.
They don't know that when I heard Pop Smoke, I started washing dishes to Pop Smoke. It just jumped the line and went right into dishes music for me. And I bring that up because, like I said, it's about journeys and stuff. And as Flacko touched on a lot of times with these interviews and stuff, it seems like everybody's musical journey starts at the pivotal age of puberty when they get their identity and start rapping. And there's never anything before that, and nobody ever had life or anything. But the thing about music is that it's always around us. Like, there's a good chance that when you popped out in West Texas, that there was some sound playing in the hospital that a little baby Matt Ills was absorbing, even if you were not conscious of what that song was. And I can remember being like, 5 years old up in Montreal. And we'd be in the apartment and my dad had all these gray boxes in there, like the amp and the preamp and the radio and the tape deck and all the wires go into that little bootleg home surround sound stuff as he'd be busting his Led Zeppelin tapes and things like that in the daytime. But at nighttime, it would be like that club music straight from the clubs of Montreal, and it's the EDM vibes and stuff like that. And my mom's, it was different. It was more like disco and like musicals and love songs, and then there was the radios and all this stuff around, and all of this created like this soundscape that I was forced to listen to before I had any control of the music in my life. So I was hoping, Mr. Matt Ills, you could take us back to being the youngest Matt Ills you could remember in Florida and tell us a little bit about what it sounded like to be you before you had any control over the sounds in your life.
There was no hip hop. There was no hip hop at all. My parents were like metalheads. They were straight up metalheads. And my grandmother was super into country. And my grandmother, when I went to my first concert, it was a metal band called Nuclear Assault. Back in, it had to have been like 92.
Okay.
I was like 8 years old or something like that. Or maybe it was in 1990. I forgot when it was, but they let us in. I remember my parents telling me they let us in because they thought it was cool that they had little kids here, and we really weren't supposed to be there. It was like a downtown venue, so like my first show was like a fucking thrash fucking metal show.
That's wild.
First concert I ever went to. My grandmother was really big on festivals, but like I said, she was in the country, so like every fucking country concert that came around, I was there. I was at every festival. She brought me to them, and it was really dope because I got to see what live stage shows look like in different genres. And in rock music, that shit is amazing. You know what I mean? Like when you have like Metallica and the stage is on fire and shit is like, people are falling off of ladders and shit, like, and it's all like stages.
I mean, they were kind of the first, right? Like rock bands were kind of like the first to like pyrotechnics and like big like fucking lights and
yeah. It was like the hair bands and
the hair bands,
like man, your Motley Crue, where they had the drummer was in a fucking cage and he's fucking spinning around, Tommy Lee and shit. So my grandfather, he taught me how to play guitar by ear.
Whoa.
And I never learned how to read. I still can't read music to this day. So he would sit me down in front of the radio, then he would play a tune and he would hum it to me, and then he would make me play. And the first thing that I actually got involved in was guitar playing. So that lasted up until about around when I was in like, I want to say like 6th grade, right up into middle school is when I started hanging out with my cousin a lot. And my cousin was like a senior, and that's when he listened to all the hip hop shit. And I would always want to be cool like him and hang out with him and his friends and shit like that. So that's what really introduced me to hip hop. And it wasn't until like until about 6th, 7th grade. I didn't even rap. I wasn't even rapping yet. I think until like maybe like 7th grade, like is when I started rapping. But it came to me a little bit later on. And so before that, it was all rock music, probably like 98% of the time. And when I was at my grandmother's house, it was her country. But it's not like she didn't listen.
Wait, you said your grandma, what? She played a lot of country?
Country.
Yeah, she played country, but she didn't play country music while we were in the house. She only played it when we were going somewhere where we had a show. We were doing other things back then other than just like listening to the radio. Like she introduced me to kung fu movies. She would take us to the store, and I remember she always rented a Shirley Temple movie and a fucking kung fu movie. It was dope as fuck. Like that my grandmother is the one that introduced me to kung fu movies. But yeah, it was a lot of rock shit before it was hip hop.
You know what though? That's right. So like when I ask people like where their parents from, right? It's like low key way for me to try to like ask like what their ethnicity is, you know what I mean? Because 9 times out of 10, you know, like most times your family's gonna come from somewhere else, you know what I mean? If you're not like white American or Black American, right? Like chances are your family aren't, like if you're Black American, chances are your family comes from the South or they're ingrained to the North, right? Like a lot of the homies that are like Harlem homies, like their family have been Penn, Brooklyn, his family's from Brooklyn for like a couple generations now type shit, you know? But like I ask it because like me, for example, right? Like my mother's comes from Nicaragua and my father comes from Puerto Rico. So like it's like a tell, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm assuming that by you saying that you're the Mexican goat at the beginning, right? That you're both your mother and father are Mexican.
Yeah.
So like I find it interesting because like I've always like found it really interesting, like the like Latinos, right, as a whole are like they're like people say a lot right nowadays. I hear a lot on radio, like whether it's Breakfast Club or some Hot 97, you know, they say in reference to Black people, right, is like we're not a monolithic people, right? And that's absolute facts. And like Latinos are super not monolithic. Like Latinos change by region and by country and by like circumstances of parents, and like it's just really like weird how it changes by. But like I find it really interesting that Latinos as a whole all have this gravitational pull towards like rock, like heavy rock, like especially Mexicans too. Like there's like everywhere that I've ever been growing up, there was always like a group of like Mexicans dressed in all black that would like listen to like heavy metal, and that I'd just be like, okay, I guess that's the thing. I guess like,
to be fair, I totally get it because heavy metal is kind of dope still, but
yeah, no, I'm not criticizing it. I'm not.
But
like,
I hear what you're saying about
heavy
the
metal,
cultural
I
thing.
just find it interesting, right? Like
it's actually wild because most of the people I've met that came up to Montreal from Mexico, in particular, all metalheads.
Is what I'm saying. It is a strong genre amongst like Mexicans in particular, but also all Latinos. Like I find it like for the most part, because I come from New York City, and like I said, my father's Puerto Rican, my mom's Nicaraguan, but like New York City's like mostly Puerto Rican or Dominicans. As far as like the Latino groups, right? Now Mexicans are becoming like the dominant Latino group in New York City, actually, as well. As the rest of the entire country, where they're already the dominant Latin group, right? But like New York City, Puerto Ricans are not into like heavy metal like that. Like there's not like, that's not a thing, you know what I'm saying? But like with Mexican, it's like, and almost all the Mexican homies that I have these stories of like either mom or dad or abuelita or abuelito playing like rock.
This man's got stuck into the club.
As well. In country as well too, though. You know what I'm saying? Like country's the other one. which is like, I think it's kind of like with Jamaicans, right? Because like in Jamaica, country music is really popular, and in Puerto Rico, right? Folkloric music is really popular because it's the stories, right? Like the stories that draw all of our like ancestors in, because it's like this come from nothing story music. You know what I'm saying?
And like
So
Texas is a big cowboy state. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
it's definitely
country.
going to be popular there.
Yeah, exactly. I just find it interesting. I
find it wild that your parents got you in the club because it was wrong to bring kids to the club. So that's why you got in, because in the spirit of good metal music, that's a wild introduction to regulations as a young man, young boy.
Yeah. And that was today. That club is the club downtown Orlando. Everybody goes, this is the club in the center of downtown. And it's a regular, now it's like a nightclub playing hip hop music.
Word.
That's wild.
And to be clear, folks, like I'm pretty sure you can't get kids in there anymore. But you know what I mean? Once upon a time.
Back in the old days, back before social media. Back before somebody
Word. That's the old days and shit. It's before social media. BSM versus what would it be after
I don't know.
AI after internet. Something like that. Yeah.
I like that. So
Word.
yeah, so basically you're like, you switch into a more hip hop oriented gear. I believe somewhere you said grade 6-ish, your cousin becomes more of a focus, the older, cooler guy. And then somehow between then and grade 7, you started rapping, which is a wild thought. So the question is, what was some of the early hip hop that you were really into at that point? Like, what was like the hot stuff going on? Because keep in mind, cultural, regional stuff is not equal. So your version of what was hot is not going to be shared by the Montreal or the New York experience exclusively. There will be, you know.
I want to say KRS. Like KRS, LL Cool J, was definitely heavily playing, but then it was like Bone Thugs. There was Uncle Luke was in there at one point in heavy rotation, and my cousin shit. West Coast shit was Snoop. It was always Snoop. Who else was like kind of like bumping there? I remember really taking a liking in KRS, and then like there was a point where I was just listening to whatever my cousin would play. Then I was like, man, Cannabis is the greatest fucking rapper on the planet. I want to be like that guy. Like Busta Rhymes, MOP, Annie Up was like, holy shit. Like that's my favorite song. That's the song that came out. You wanted to fight somebody, and now I'm like hyped up, fucking mopping the floor in my house.
Boom! Choice music.
I dug a lot of hieroglyphics. Freestyle Fellowship was dope. Like Micah 9 was amazing. Bus Driver, like those dudes were sick. I remember when Aesop Rock dropped, I was like super into the underground shit. Then you know, when Raucous Records and all, like that was, I listened to all those dudes. Lyricist Lounge, all of that shit. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the multi-syllable shit was Cool G Rap.
Word.
Then Rakim with the punchlines, I was like damn, man. And like Rakim begat Cannabis. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
That's where that connection is at. So that's kind of like the lineage of my style travels down through there. Like it's I get hella aggressive like a Busta Rhymes would. But like I do a lot of the pattern type of shit. Percy P. But that was when I was looking at on my own shit. When it was my cousin, he was listening to a lot of like South shit, but then like a lot of just like regular shit that was playing around that time.
A lot of South shit, like what?
Like Uncle Luke.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, man,
Also,
I like that's the thing is like when I wasn't really into that whenever he was listening
he was
to
playing it. Word.
Yeah,
word.
it was just like, all right.
It didn't perk up your interest. You treated it the way I treated the salsa and merengue that my mother would be playing. Like, oh my God, fucking this shit. You know what I mean? Like,
I could see how that if you were interested in KRS-One, that maybe some of the Uncle Luke stuff might not be as appealing to you.
Right.
Yeah.
They feel like kind of opposites.
Yeah, I was like, this motherfucker's live. Like, he's fucking hype. Like, oh, shit. Like, and I'm a little kid listening to motherfuckers rap about sex. And I'm just like, what? Ew. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, where I'm hearing this motherfucker like, yo, I'm the man. Like, oh, shit. I want to be the man. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
That is a really interesting perspective. And I say that because, like, how often do people actually point out, yo, I was young. Fuck those sex bars. Like that's I don't think I've actually heard somebody say that in all the shows we've done.
I mean, connected with me at the time.
No, but like, so like, at what point then did you decide I'm gonna become a rapper? Like, you're getting exposed to all this stuff, and then you said by like grade 7 you're rapping. So how did it be that you started to like rap?
It was in probably in 8th grade. It happened very quick. No, it wasn't I was in 8th grade. I was in 7th grade.
Right.
And the older kids, the 8th graders were rapping in a cypher. And I went over to like try to jump in. I thought it was cool as fuck. So I tried to like rap, and I don't know what it was that I tried to do to this day. I don't remember, but all I remember is the older kid in front of me across the cypher, like totally shut me down and clown me. Be like, man, that shit is fucking horrible. Like, get the fuck out of here, you know? And so he's like an 8th grader saying this, get the fuck out of here. I'm like, it wasn't Big Pun is also like, he's at the top for me. But
I could see those influences. We were talking ahead, like before we jump in here, we were on Holden's Twitch stream, and we were playing your music and playing some of your battles, and we were just talking generally, and I was telling him, I was like, yo, you know what? I think that I'm gonna add this to our arsenal of like things that we ask, which is just like, where do you think, you know, your style when you know what I mean? Because we all like Old Dirty Bastard was the only one that was Old Dirty Bastard because there was no father to his style. You know what I mean? The rest of us all have a lineage that we can go back to. You know what I mean? And that it comes from. It might not be the exact photocopy of that artist, but there's a lineage that your rhyme style will come from if you're a traditional MC, you know, in you know, the respects of like flows and pattern and styles and shit.
And I love how the Matt Ills just answered the question before anybody could ask him that question. He just ran it.
Big facts. Facts.
All of it. Just volunteered the information.
Yep.
Like, this is the history, bro. You need to know it.
Yeah, big facts. Big facts.
So you like
professional.
So you like went into the cipher. It did not go well, is my understanding. And then this motivated you to pursue to pursue it more seriously, or was it like the opposite effect?
Yeah, no, it pissed me off. All I could think about was that kid. It pissed me the fuck off. I came back the very fucking next day and was able to like spit some shit that he couldn't come back at me. Like it wasn't a thing that I learned to do over time. It was just something that I don't know. I instantly turned into fucking Teen Wolf and fucking hulked out. And then after that, I was like, oh shit, I'm actually good at this. So they used to have something called the roll call at the local radio station. Like you could call in the morning and they let you rap 4 bars. They'll be like, hey, you know, where you from, who you are, blah, blah, blah. You know, they'll do this little setup on the beat. And then they let people who call in rap. So I started doing that. And they were liking it so much that they started hitting me up and they talked to my parents about having me be what's called the roll call boy. So before I went to school every morning, I would battle people on the radio station for a good like half a year. They did that segment on the local radio station out here. Yeah. And that's kind of
incredible.
Like, that was it. It was just that. Like I got a taste for being good at it when I battled that dude back, and I was hungry ever since. And it's like,
no, that's pretty fast, bro. For like dead ass, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's pretty fast to have like okay, I suck one day, the next day I come out, I hulk out on dude, and then like not long after that, like I'm like on the radio show of like local, like what? And Orlando's not like a small town.
Nah, that's
it's not like we're talking. It's not like
and this was
it's not like we're talking about Pleasantville, New York.
The main station of Orlando. You're on like real fucking radio.
Yeah.
At like a teenager battling people on the phone and shit. Why? Because the big lesson in there is he took advantage of the opportunity and was hungry enough to call in on his own and persist.
Word.
But yeah, so like when I hit 9th grade is when I start going out to different places. Because in Orlando, when I was in 9th grade, that's when Nickelodeon Studios. No, I'm good. I'm smoking this. Sorry. Nickelodeon Studios was here in Orlando, so all the kid stars were here. All the television shows were being filmed here. Legends of the Hidden Temple, all that shit was filmed here. Well, all those kids, they went to the local school. So by the time I got into high school, I get into a rap group with he's like the only little black kid from Gullah Gullah Island. So dude has an agent. We're getting shows booked.
Wow.
You know, when I'm a teenager in high school. Wild. So like I spent all of my high school years like already doing shows and putting music out and battling. Like it was just battling.
Okay, so we gotta go through that a little bit more because that's also pretty incredible. So based on the geography lottery of life and the timing of when it happened, Nickelodeon is producing shows up in your city, and you're going to school with Nickelodeon kids, I guess, or at least that way. And then you link up with Mans and make a rap group. He's connected as fuck. So does that mean you guys get studios and everything? How are you guys like actually recording the music and getting beats and all this stuff?
Well, there was 2 different groups that I was in. One of them, the father was some sort of executive Disney studio dude, and he got the MPC. He got the MPC 2000 before it dropped.
Oh wow!
We were making beats on that, and it was so funny because we were just like, "What is all this new equipment?" He had in the neighborhood, like we would go to his house. He had a fucking in-house studio, but he's some like Disney executive guy. So like, he has all the shit that they're trying to get shopped. He has prototypes of shit. He's got all kinds of shit. So we would make all of our music there, and we would. It was just like there was always some rich person. Because somebody was like a Nickelodeon actor or somebody who like lived in town.
I say
when nobody had money to go to studios.
That's crazy. I say that's not surprising though, because right, like, you know, Orlando. So like Orlando, for Holden, right? Like you might not be aware, right?
No, I got nothing on Orlando except I think there's a Disney
Orlando.
thing.
Yeah, see, exactly. There we go. So Orlando is the home to Disney World, the big Disney.
Orlando's the number one sex slave trade.
California has Disneyland, but Orlando has Disney World. You know what I'm saying? And it's like bigger and like more of an event. And when people who are huge Disney fans,
you heard of Florida Man? You never heard of Florida Man? They have like crazy.
Oh, Florida Man.
No,
Florida
Man. I know what you're talking about.
Florida Man. Yeah, now it clicked. Yeah, I clicked.
Yeah, all Florida Man lives in Orlando.
That's amazing.
Well, I mean, don't let. I mean, it is wild out there, but like, don't steal all the credit. You know, fucking everywhere I've been in Florida has Florida Man. Fucking Jacksonville, Miami. It don't matter where I go. It don't matter where
I was kind of under the impression Florida Man was really all Florida.
When we went down there for Broward Beatdown, there was Florida Man in Broward and shit. Like, there's every county I've ever been to in Florida has a motherfucking Florida Man and shit. But the point that I'm trying to make, Holden, is that it's not surprising to me that it would be a Disney exec when Disney World is located
right around the corner. Yeah,
right around the corner. And like it figures that there would be Nickelodeon
we're also
kids and
like
stars
this is like
staying locally.
This is a world where rich people be like, yeah, come record music in my crib, young people, and everyone's just that all of like, this just does not sound like it could happen today. Like none of that sounds realistic.
Yeah, like when I was in ninth grade, I also started hanging out with Julian Williams. Julian Williams is the owner of Fusion XL. He's the coach of Lyoto Machida. He coached Jacare Souza. He coaches Philip Rowe. He's a UFC coach.
I was gonna say to Holden, he's talking about mixed martial arts, UFC.
His dad is a Hall of Famer footballer, Reggie Williams. So he lived across the street from Islesworth. It's like the spot where like all the celebrities have their houses. We would go over to his house and he would have a setup, you know, like there was always some like rich kid's father, you know what I'm saying, that got them the dope equipment that like not even adults were getting, because like you had to go to a studio and you were, this was like my first album that I recorded myself was recorded on ADAT.
I don't know what the ADAT is.
It's DAT tapes. It's like it wasn't like a digital. It was converted to digital. Like used to be able to. You'd get like you'd be able to get like when we were recording cassettes. So like you would get a 4-track or a 6-track recorder that you would assign. You know, one was for the fucking audio, you would record that shit live. The other one was designated for the beat. And if you wanted someone else on it, you'd have to like designate that channel just for that. Nothing was like, it wasn't digital. Like you had to go to these super expensive fucking studios at that time. But like these kids were getting the top of the line shit like as it was coming out, and they're just fucking around with it with their friends and making rap groups in the high schools and shit.
Wild. Super fucking wild, for real. And then all of that, you're putting out music. When are you in high school then? This is like the late 90s, based on your age, right?
Yeah. Right.
So you're in the late 90s. Are you guys like making music videos? Are you like, and when you're like performing, like what scale are you performing at? You're like touring, or is it like local bars and stuff?
It's like local festivals.
Okay.
That's pretty.
We would do.
So we're talking about like a couple thousand people.
Yeah, but it wasn't like they were there to see us. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
but
right.
Like,
no, for a festival. For
you still perform that shit.
Yeah, nah. I know. I know it wasn't like 5,000 people was showing up to see like 12 or 14-year-old ills, right? But like you were getting the opportunity to perform somewhere.
We used to wear blue jeans and a fucking and a sweater vest with like a white shirt underneath. It looked very Backstreet Boyish.
That's a good look.
That was what the wave was back then, though. You know,
there's nothing wrong with that. That's proper to this day.
Like back then, you got to think about it. Like we're talking about, like there were no real kid stars outside of Chris Cross, and then what? Like I'm pretty sure that you were doing it before Bow Wow, right?
Yeah,
exactly. So then that means that at that point, the only examples that there were like Chris Cross or like I don't know, like ABC, Another Bad Creation, like you know what I mean? Like it, like there's no examples really, you know. Like
no, that's really really cool. Like by the time you're not even 18, you're still in high school. You are doing festivals. You are on the radio, and you're making music at like a professional level. Arguably, you done achieved the dream before you even fucking got out of high school.
It was a lot funner back then.
I'm just like, that's like as far as like just raw resumes go, as the adolescence phase, that one is pretty fucking impressive. Like,
I think that
I'm kind of blown away.
Amongst the most impressive youthful resume, like almost everybody's always like, you know, they're in high school and getting it cracking, like maybe getting out of high school, but like, you know, not like in a group and recording like on like professional equipment at like a young age.
Like all of that, and performing, like everything lined up,
and friends with fucking management and like lining up opportunities. Like this is like you're getting training. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like shit that the industry used to do and shit. You know, like they would say that you were industry ready. Like by the time you were done with all that type of shit, you know?
Right. So like, yeah, you also said you were battling at that point, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the high school was nothing but battling. Like everybody battled. That was how you got your way in. And that was when I was like, that was the funnest time ever because I fucking eat everybody. But yeah, we would always have like battle tournaments that we would throw, and we would battle. And then by the time I was in 11th grade, I started going over to, to the other side of town to the college, and the college had a Monday night where they had battles. That's where I met Madness. That's where I met Critical, Madness, Migraine. Like these dudes were the battle champions at that time. When I was in 11th grade, they were in college doing their shit and battling there. And that's that I started going there and I started winning over there. So like I kept sticking to that side and going to then it became
kept going back to the place where you were winning. I mean, this is a good plan that you got right now. You know what I mean?
So like then Skribbal Jam is coming out. So like I'm trying to get footage, because to get into Skribbal Jam, you had to submit footage and they had to invite you. There was a 32-man battle on day one, and only the top 8 got to go on to day 2, where there was another 32-man battle of just MCs that Skribbal Jam invited out that they knew were like top-notch dudes. So in 2001 was kind of spent all of collecting footage to go to Skribbal Jam.
Yo, that's exactly how the game works today. Like, ain't shit changed. You just got to go to, like, right now, I'm on the, okay, I got to take every opportunity to perform live right now to film everything for my press kit. That's the game. And it's like, wow, hearing you say that, it's incredible. Like, it ain't shit
hold
changed.
on. So you were battling in high school, and when you joined Skribbal Jam, that was high school, like end of high school?
No, that was Skribbal Jam. I went 2003. That was the year the Immaculate won. I graduated in 2002. So I was one. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was already out of high school. I was in the Marine Corps and I was married. And during that time, I went up to Skribbal Jam, and I battled at Skribbal Jam from 2003 to 2010 when they had the last one, or 8 or something like that. I think I only missed one Skribbal Jam, but I made it to the main stage, the top four or 8 every year after that.
Wild.
That was the first year that Ilmac went, and when he won, and that's when everyone started doing the multi-syllabic punchlines.
So hold on. So like in 2001, then you're basically doing the local circuit, trying to get footage, and the way you said it makes it sound like it's a little bit more complicated than in the phone game. So how did you get your footage? Did you have
I
to
had
cap
a
it?
camcorder. Had a camcorder, and that they had DAT tapes.
Okay.
So yeah, you'd have to convert them to be able to edit them digitally.
So that's what the DAT tape. That's the video cam cassette tape thing, is a DAT tape.
Yeah.
I just never used one, so I never heard that term for real before. All right, so then you had the means by all of this equipment to turn that into whatever files you needed to send over to Skribbal Jam. So you did that and when did you join the Marines? Because all of a sudden you're joining the Marines, and I think you said there's family now.
Yeah, like I went straight out after I graduated. Like as soon as I graduated, I went to boot camp. I don't even think I spent the summer. I just went straight in. And then I would come back like after like student status, doing all my training, and I got married. I got married like March 2003. And I think Skribbal Jam was in like November-ish. So I was probably home for the holidays or something, and then I took a trip out there. So but wherever I would go, like even when I would go with the Marines, I'd find a place to battle or a club to perform at, or I still sold I pushed my shit on base. Like
that's crazy. So you were already on it then. You were already doing it like yourself from like fresh out of high school. Once you joined, I'm guessing you joined fresh out of high school that summer, and then you just went to boot camp. And then right after boot camp, you were able to move around how you wanted to, and you were probably using your finances to parlay all the shit that you were doing and shit.
Yep.
So were you like selling battles, or like what were you moving music? Like what
I was
were you
making
pushing?
music. Yeah, I was making music.
Okay. So at that point then,
like the album that I had, I think the only place where it's actually at is on my YouTube. I think I like cataloged it. It's called
the one with the white. Is that the white cover one?
Does it say Bar Ever?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the one I was playing like right before we went live.
Yeah, I think there's a song in there about boot camp.
That's wild. That's super cool. It's available actually. Like it's really cool that you have that, because most times you hear it and people be like, it's not even there.
You know who produced that album?
Who?
Just One. Team Hami.
Oh, you see?
Say word.
Boom. There we go. Bang, bang, bang. I literally was telling Holden before, like, I was like, you don't know, like, I know, I was like, I don't remember if the story is that Just One went to school down there or what, or y'all met on, I forget how.
Like, we met in the mall. I worked at Cinnabon, and he worked at a hip hop clothing store. He was like the manager or some shit. And so it was like heavy. People were heavy at battle. Like battling was really popular, like where I was at. And people would go to this mall meet up from different schools, and they would go battle in one of these hip hop stores. Well, Just One's store wanted to do that. So we threw a battle up in there, and like, I'm just tearing people up. And I end up working in that store and being cool with them. And I got signed to I got signed to a local label when I was in maybe I think it was 11th, 12th grade-ish. And they actually foot the bill to get Just One to produce the whole album. And there's the production of the last 2 songs. I think I don't even think a song is up there, but Madness did one and Da Vinci did one. He's Lauryn Hill's producer now.
That's crazy.
That's wild.
What?
Yeah, that's serious stills.
Yeah,
So
nah,
then-
that's
The guy that we had as an option to produce the record was between Just One or Floyd the Locksmith. Floyd the Locksmith ended up getting an award for best video game soundtrack for 50 Cent's video game when that came out. And Floyd the Locksmith became a famous ass like Atlanta producer. But like, yo, all these people were down here going to school for like production and shit, and it was like hella easy to like get in good with somebody of some sort of like status. So it worked, man. Like it was a dope time in Orlando.
That's crazy, and you took full advantage of it, whereas like other people were there and probably did not take full advantage of it. So props to you for making the most of the opportunities given to you. So when you said you went to Skribbal Jam, did you get invited or did you do the 2-day tournament thing for the first time?
I got invited, but you had to get invited to the 2-day tournament too.
Okay, so you got invited.
So I get invited, and in the prelims, I think I got through a guy, and then I had to go against my homie who I like went to Skribbal Jam with. Like we were from the same town, we were doing the same shit, and I have to battle him in the prelims. So it was super fucking whack. And I think I lost that battle and I was out. I was like, fuck, I'm not gonna get to the main stage. And then Kevin Beecham finds me. He's like, oh shit, I've been looking for you. Yo, can you do the main stage tomorrow? And I was like, what? I got knocked out hella early. He's like, nah, man, you're good to go. Like, we need somebody, and I think you're good. So he threw me up on the main stage, and I ended up battling White Mike from the West. He was like a West Coast artist.
How did that battle go?
I lost.
Fair.
I fucking lost. We were like running in a circle at each other. I think I like kicked my boot off at him or something. Like I was wearing Timbs back then. And I like kicked my boot off and said something like, take this home as a trophy for getting your ass kicked. And I remember Sage Francis when he was like, yo, that was my favorite battle, just watching you fools like kick your shoes off and run around stage like idiots.
Sage Francis. That's wild.
That's dope.
Yeah.
No, that's hard.
That's super hard. So you go to that, your Skribbal Jam, you head out there. And what's it like being at that, like being part of Skribbal Jam?
It was literally like going to a theme park. Like you go into Disney, you see Mickey Mouse and shit walking around. Like you would go to Skribbal Jam and then you'd be like, oh shit, there's fucking Slug walking around. There's fucking who would damn, I have to like tap back into those old days, like Sage Francis and
dude, like I was gonna say, like for me, seeing Sage Francis, that would trip me out. Like
yeah, he's just chilling. Like I remember one of the years it was sponsored by Scion, and he's like hella pissed, and he like runs over to the Scion table and he just like racks all of the magazines off, like fuck this corporation shit, and he like walks off. I'm like, yeah, that's what you expect to see out of Sage Francis. But that's where I met PH. One year we had a merch table next to each other, and that's when I talked about that's the reason PH came on to Grind Time, because when we started in 2008, I think that was the last year of Skribbal Jam, and we were there, and I met with PH, and I was like, bro, I want you to like help out with this New York division, because remember we had what was his name, Jay's Juice.
Mm-hmm.
He used to be the New York.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Jay's Juice.
Yeah.
Jay's Juice was the president of the New York division. before Pumpkinhead was the president. And it was like, I know speaking for me, right? Like, no, like shade to Jay's Juice, but it felt very like, what? How is this guy the president of New York division of battle rap? Like, what's going on here? What?
It's because, like,
but when Pumpkinhead became the president, it was like this guy is like a New York indie legend that in the making, like already made at that time. You know what I mean? Like by then it was like definitive. Like he had a indie legend album. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he had a classic. Orange Moon Over Brooklyn was like like people put that up there with Immortal Techniques, Revolutionary, and I'm pretty sure you could name a Sage Francis album. I have a friend who loves Brother Ali, who would name a Brother Ali
Brother
album.
Ali too.
Right?
Brother
These
Ali
are people,
cool.
but like he like Jean Grey would have, you know, like all of them have like those, you know, joints. So you met PH at
Skribbal Jam.
Skribbal Jam. Word. I was gonna say festival. Skribbal Jam.
Wild. I mean, I heard it's like you would go outside and be like everybody's favorite rapper rapping in a cipher with people that nobody ever heard of, and it's like everybody would just be there, and it was a giant vibe.
Yeah, it was dope. And then there was, because during those years we were on rapmusic.com. We were on the forums.
Okay.
The battle community they were talking to each other through this forum, rapbattles.com.
You gotta hold on because you're speeding through it. Hold on, Ills. Like don't do that because I'm like, wait, no, I already remember. But before then, right? So when it's going from last Skribbal Jam, right? Like is this when rap music is already kicking off, or is it after?
This is 2003.
Mm.
When we first
rap
were going
music, rap music. No, that Skribbal Jam.
Yeah, Skribbal Jam. When we first
go to Skribbal Jam, when
the Source shows up, like during that year, we would all communicate with each other on these forums. So
it was the same
time.
What
happened was we all knew what like little motel area to be at, and we all got rooms in this one spot.
You fucking tech savvy motherfuckers.
Yo, that's what like it is.
The Taurus, fucking No Can Do was there. There was all the fucking Skribbal Jam, pretty much MCs. They all got a room here at this motel, and it was like a shitty ass motel, and it was like a big ass fucking party, and there were ciphers going on, and like that became like a tradition for some years after that. So not only was there a Skribbal Jam that you went to and saw all the like your favorite legends, but like you also went to the motel area to see all of the fucking battlers that you've been watching the DVDs on and shit like that, like all ciphering with everybody. It was a dope ass time.
That's so cool. So you're like basically tapped into the forum and the internet community since like the very like inception of all of this.
I mean, that's how Grind Time really takes off, because I started something called Lounge Battles in 2003.
Okay, what's a Lounge Battles?
So Lounge Battles ends up becoming a 3-day event in Orlando that it's just like a mini Skribbal Jam. We have breakdancing, DJ and beatbox battles, MC battles. We had it all. There's a period in time where I become a promoter and I start throwing events because I got screwed over at an event that I won in Atlanta. And rather than just complaining about it, I started my own shit and I called it Lounge Battles. Okay. I go to Skribbal Jam and I meet all these dudes. Now they're all my friends. Now I'm bringing them to Orlando. So like, that's how Marvin Quest, their first show was in Orlando. When they did their first show in Orlando, that was from me bringing them to Lounge Battles. The Swords, first time in Orlando, that was because of Lounge Battles. We brought him out. Kevin Beecham, I booked Skribbal Jam 2 years in a row when they were doing their tour in Orlando. I was the guy that booked the show. So like all of these people that I were friends with, I was able to get them to come out to do shit at lounge battles. And it was like, it was popping off for a hot minute, you know, like lounge battles existed from 2003 up until Grind Time opens up. And then we do a couple of things with lounge battles still being a theme of.
Can we just pause before we go on a theme? Because I know for you, it's like you're waiting. But like for me, this is like, bro, we is documenting undocumented right now. Like, I mean, I don't know how many people really are out there talking about the old timey Orlando leagues that was like equitable to Skribbal Jam. Like, it's just never come up before. So like, what's the format like? Break down a little bit what this 3-day experience would be like.
So there's footage. We had there's footage online on the old Grind Time channel. There is footage of us battling at a resort. So I had this resort and you would go there, and I think day one was like we did b-boy battles and we did video game battles. I think we had like a Halo tournament or some shit.
Hey, that's fire.
Yeah, and there was a Street Fighter tournament done on an actual like Street Fighter arcade box. And the B-boys were battling out in the back on the deck, like on the dock. We had a tent set up and they were doing their shit out there. And then we had some 2-on-2 or 1-on-1 battles go down in the little beach area that they had on the property. Then they let us use the lobby for the acapella, like 1-on-1, 2-on-2 battles. And I think there's like Mosh Gelatin or Unorthodox Phrases, all of the original Grind Time dudes, like they're there competing. El Eagle was a dude from New York. You remember that dude? He was down there battling Surgeon General. Like there was like, we had Reef the Lost Cause out there performing. I think I even brought Awkwards out there. His first time in Orlando was I brought him out here. Yeah, so like
you early
I was
on.
bringing all these dudes out, and you know by the time Grind Time starts getting kicked off, Grind Time started in 2008. I was throwing hip hop shows since 2003.
Yo,
so like by the time we get there, I'm already.
Not just shows. Like I think you're kind of downplaying it. You throw in fucking festivals, like and not just like one thing, dude. Mixing video games is such a lit idea. I'm probably gonna jack it because I never thought of it, and it's too fucking easy to implement. Like like 5 Nintendo Switches, and your party just got super fucking lit. You're doing all kinds of shit.
I had a sponsorship from the local GameStop. They let me use their system and screens.
That's fucking crazy. You be getting sponsorships from the video game people. Nobody thinking about getting sponsorships from the video game people.
Yeah, nah. Ills was always getting.
Yo, I had a sponsorship from everybody. Lounge Battles. We even had a fucking sponsorship from Subway, and they put a fucking party sub in the green room.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
dude, that's so cool. Everybody. So that was a big part of it. Okay, so for a minute.
So hold on. So
okay,
you built Lounge Battles at this point, right? How is it that Grind Time comes to be about?
Yeah,
like we're saying Skribbal Jam is over.
Skribbal Jam's still going on.
Skribbal Jam is still going on.
Yes.
Okay.
Skribbal Jam is still going on. So this was Skribbal Jam's last year, I believe. Also, a lot of the bigger tournaments weren't happening anymore. Who Can Roast the Most was one in Miami. That stopped. That was a big, like Jin came out of that. You know what I mean? Parable came out of that. I believe they stopped doing theirs. 106 in Park no longer had the battling. They switched over to a performance contest for a while, and they weren't doing battling. Like battling was kind of on the way out as far as markets were concerned. So like it was kind of a good time for us to pop in. All the bigger ones on the West Coast, like they weren't doing theirs anymore. They weren't doing none of that shit. So like, bro, like we just came in at the right time. But like, I met Direct when he was fresh out of high school, and he was going to Full Sail University for I guess like camera editing or production or some shit like that. So he had access to the current equipment that they were using on 2008. And even then they were using those video cameras that like skateboarders would use that still produce the tapes.
Right.
So like I meet him in like 2007, I think, from Lounge Battles, from battling, because Direct is on the scene too. He's known as a battle MC. He's entering the battles. He's just known, like you know who the MCs are in Orlando. And he came to me asking me about like, hey, I'm trying to get distribution to do a video magazine. So that's how it started. He was on he was brought on to a podcast show, or a fucking like what a podcast was at that time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because this is all just verbiage, right? Like a video magazine. It's just like, what? Like, yo, the verbiage
like,
we
that's
used
fair.
to use is so hilarious, you know? Like,
so a video magazine is what you guys called a podcast back in the day.
Or no,
video magazines were like what,
it was basically like a Smack DVD, but really it's like a variety show essentially. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like an interview, a little bit of some interview, some performances, a music video, and then at the end of the whole thing, a battle.
Yeah,
I guess
so
that's a magazine.
Yeah, so
I mean,
that's what we call it. We call it a video magazine.
I mean, back then that's what we did call it.
Yeah,
but,
we called it a video magazine. So he wanted to do that, and at the time, you can go, if you go and look up Madness versus Jargonist. Madness versus Jargonist. There is an event I threw called Written's. It was called Written's Battle. It was a cappella. You were allowed to spit writtens against each other. When I had put that video out, and this predates the Grind Time channel, I say in the description box, like, this written format is something that I want to try to like work more on doing. At that point, I was trying to do something different other than lounge battles, because I was watching all the other hip hop festivals around me die that had battle rap in them. So I was like, damn, I know the trend is going down. I need to do something else. So this kid comes to me saying, hey, I want to do a video magazine. And I'm like, I know you got your connections, I got my connections, but he had the technical shit. His homie, his name is Corey, was his boy. And so we had 2 fucking cameras, which was like, oh shit. So like there were 2 people dedicated to camera work and editing, and his boy Corey was down for whatever the fuck he wanted to do. I think that was his roommate or something, right? So I tell him, I was like, well, I don't want to do a video magazine, because that's exactly what the fuck Smack was doing. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do that. I want to do something different. I do want to do battles, but I don't want to do it like how battles are always showcased. Because at that time, the only time you saw people battling was in a fucking barber shop, or like with a pool table between them. And to me, that was so fucking stagnant. So I was like, yo, like, let's do a league and let's film it. But like, let's go to different locations so we could show people that we're moving around. And that was the plan. So when we started expanding, that's the reason why we would shoot outdoors with whatever the city's, noticeable like landscape was. You know what I'm saying? So like when we went to New York, where we went to
I think you guys did like out like down the block from in Battery Park, down the block from Twin Towers or some shit. Like
Yeah.
or were
We were in Battery Park, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like when we went to Oakland, we went to Mosswood Park. When we went to LA, the Madness battled No Can Do in front of some famous mural in LA. When we did Orlando, we were in front of the Citrus Bowl. We battled in front of the arena. And we would battle in front of in people's clothing stores, like just to show, yo, this is fun and this moves around. And that shit really caught on. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the goal, was like, just let's keep track of their wins and losses, but like, let's move around and show something different. Like the first grind time battle that was really set up was at UCF, at University of Central Florida, in like their little park area. There's these like little gazebos that we gathered in, and it was literally just 2 battles. And it was Unorthodox Phrases versus a dude named State of Mind. And Unorthodox was dope. And at that time, when we did that, Unorthodox Phrases was already in the Orlando battle scene and like getting ready to go to Skribbal Jam. He ends up making it to Skribbal Jam, I think, in one of the, in like 2006-ish. But like, he did really good. And I think the other battle that happened that day wasn't that good. And I was like, man, like, we all fucking set our day aside to come and watch these 2 battles. This shit is whack. Like, bro, we need to do like 9 battles. You know what I'm saying? Like, have it be a fucking event.
Right.
And go, let's go out in front of, don't be in this stupid ass park in the corner. Like, let's go out and show people that like we're out here doing this shit. And like, then we end up in a clothing store and Johnny Storm versus Mosh Gelton happens, and then fucking it gets put on World Star, and we're like, what? So yeah, that's how that shit happened.
That's right. Then World Star got involved.
So like, basically, you link up with Direct and you guys create Grind Time, right? That's my understanding of what's happening here. Like the primary Orlando Grind Time, not one of the expansion pack Grind Times.
Right. Like Grind Time was a show that Direct's homie was doing, where he would bring people in, I guess at Full Sail, interview them, play some music, and he had a couple battles. And I think even Hollow the Don, I think, might have battled on one of those shows, or somebody else did. Like, he was Direct's boy. Direct knew all the 106 and Park motherfuckers.
Right.
So it was one of those dudes that was on it.
He was always obsessed with the 106 and Park.
Yeah, he was.
When we told him we could bring KM in, he was, from what I understand.
Yeah. So he, whatever he had going on with his homie, I don't know what it was. I don't even think I met his homie that did the show with him, but he wanted to do just battles, and he wanted to do like a video magazine. And I was like, no, I just want to do just battles, and that's it, and I'll partner with you. And he was like, all right, cool. So it's called Grind Time. But then when I go to incorporate Grind Time, I find that there's already a Grind Time that's taken up, and it specifically goes with like entertainment and apparel. It was like I think it was like an extreme sports type of like company, but what their company was defined as was like right along the lines of what ours was defined as, and we weren't going to be able to get away with calling our company Grind Time. So I was like, man, I was playing poker one night with Dirty Dem. Dirty Dem was the guy who started originally doing our flyers, and he was a professional graphics artist, but he was doing everything for free for us, or for the low, because he was a part of the team, and he was like getting in on. He ended up opening up so much more business by doing our flyers than he ends up doing flyers for like everybody and all their mixtapes and shit. So it was a really good setup. So me and him are playing poker one night, and we're talking about it, and it was Dirty Dem who actually said, how about Grind Time now? And I was like, yeah, Grind Time now. That sounds that sounds legit. Like, because now and then it's something totally different, and it could still stay along the lines of grind time and what Direct wanted. So we came back and said, yo, grind time now. And it was like, all right, boom, that's what it is. So that's how it happened. That's how grind time came about.
Word.
And so
Because grind time now was pretty early. Like it like by the time you guys got on World Star, it was already grind time now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So like, if I understand, then you guys are
we
basically.
had a logo and we changed it.
I remember the logo when we were talking about the shirt. I think this was off air. Actually, we were talking about Poison Pen, and we were referencing that Poison Pen as a grind time shirt. That's the logo that it was before, right? Or was that like
right? That original logo was grind time.
Yeah, just grind time.
And we didn't have the business running then. Like,
right.
Then we were like, oh fuck, we really need to get like serious about this.
Right.
Yeah.
So like,
them original grind time logos was tight though. That the stars, on the
and that was Dirty Dem's logo. That was Dirty Dem's design. I think they bought it. I think they bought it for the GTNX shit.
Word.
So like, grind time in its like inception, then it's basically you guys are throwing the events and you filming them and you're putting them on the internet, and that's the basic structure of what grind time is doing.
No. We had a website also, and we had our own forum where we created our own community. And at one point, the traffic that was coming into our website was right under World Star Hip Hop. And they were the most viewed hip hop site in the fucking world. Like, we were getting global views after World Star played our shit. So we had a website, but like, I wanted to have models. You remember we had models, and we would have girls standing in front of the video. Like, I wanted to have all of that shit from the rip. So we had our own little mini modeling agency, because all these models were trying to come to us because they wanted to get views on our website. So we had a modeling section. So we were making sure that we were bringing in heavy traffic, but it was rooted in battle rap. So we were gaining fans from fucking everywhere.
Right.
And at the time, for relation, right? Like, I would say probably, was Two Dope Boys already a website or not yet?
I don't know.
I don't think so. But so even if it was, but like really back then, I think the main hip hop websites besides that, like World Star was beating out, that means you guys were also beating out, was like allhiphop.com and like hiphopdx.com, which is like pretty fucking huge. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we were definitely up there. We were definitely up there.
That's mad impressive. And the fact that you leveraged the opportunity again, like you just said, you launched a modeling agency out of necessity because you had so much web traffic, ladies be showing up. Now, sometimes so much web traffic, ladies be showing up, might not turn into a modeling agency. It might turn into some fun times or whatever may happen. But y'all really did just capitalize on whatever the fuck was in your face and turn everything into an opportunity. That's fucking wild. And you just throw it in so casually, like, that's what had to happen. Like, your perspective,
I remember grind time.
But for me, that's like fucking wild to hear about.
Being big. I remember that being like a thing. Like, like it got really popular.
You know what's funny was like when this guy, Meta World Peace, what's his name? Ron
Artest, yeah.
Wait, do you remember when Ron
Meta
Artest?
World Peace, goddamn it! You want to be called Meta World Peace? We'll call him Meta World Peace.
You remember when he put up a YouTube video, and the title of the video was Mark Jelton versus Unorthodox Phrases, and we contacted him. We got in contact with him and his management, and we're on the phone with him, saying like, "Yo, man, you can't do this," you know. And he was such a fan of grind time. He fucking loved it. Like, he got into an argument with his management about wanting to actually come out to a show. When he came out to he came out to Rock the Bells when we did Rock the Bells in San Francisco. He came in with us. He was a Grind Time guest, and he ends up like announcing Nas and shit. That's when I kind of knew. I was just like, man, this is fucking like, this is insane.
Yeah.
This is insane.
We were affecting culture. Culture. It was definitely like different. And what the fuck, you guys were super geniuses. You know what I mean? Like everybody played their part to a T to help this shit become essentially what is now still the functioning model for every other league. And you know what I mean? Like a lot of the precedent got set. You know, now I think with caffeine and Twitch getting involved, we're seeing something like a little bit different and it going in a little bit different direction. But even then, a lot of the rules still hold. You know, it's still 3 rounds. It's still 3 minutes when you're like URL really is the standard bearer right now, right? And they go a little bit between 3 to 5, but like really the point is that
I think that's horrible. I think it's
horrible. Ills is like, I need you to cut it back. I need you to get back to like a minute, bro.
1 minute. 1 minute.
What?
1 minute acapella, no more than 30 seconds over a beat. Like all you need.
You know what?
Like,
you saying that point makes sense. Before the show, when we were playing your music, Holden was taking notice of the fact that you were early on clips and like short.
Bro, half of your shit shows up like a YouTube short right now, as if you uploaded it with the shorts feature back there. It's like, just, I'm like, wait, that says 2 years ago. Why is this shit a fucking short? This doesn't make sense. How did Mad Ills break the system and have shorts before? So you like, it goes live and your YouTube channel's like, I was literally built for this shit. I'm like, fuck me. Like you have an entire catalog of fucking TikTok music just sitting there. I'm like, I'm wilding, like, cause I'm watching people shave songs down to a minute and blow up on TikTok, and it's. I'm not there yet. I'm not a 1 minute guy like that, but like I'm watching people, and it's like a full song. It's just a little 1 minute, and then they do these videos to go with it, and I'm just like, yo, this is really gonna be a thing. Plus, you make more money on Spotify with a 1 minute song than you do with a 2 minute song. So
I started doing like songwriting like challenges, and they were like daily. So that's how I ended up with a bunch of short clips, because I choose a random beat. Sometimes it would be like a love song, sometimes it'd be a rap song, sometimes it'd be whatever. I had to write to it. So then I just started developing like songwriting off of these drills and doing these like 1 minute shorts, you know.
Ahead of time. So
you know what I mean?
That also explains why you would want to get back the battles to minute rounds.
Yeah.
To me, I'm like, into the short. Ills is like, look, man, keep that shit short and sweet.
Like, I was watching your battles and I was looking at these Skribbal Jam things, and I'm like, the whole thing is 2 minutes and y'all just back and forth. It's 2 rounds when it's 2 minutes. And I'm like,
I mean, listen, I was telling him that, like, I was just watching the Disaster and Assassino battle, and that, before I watched it, I was just curious. And so, like, I YouTube searched Assassino versus, and, like, I discover this world of fucking, like, Red Bull arena fucking battles on beats, essentially taking it back to that shit and in front of like crowds and shit. And I'm just like, yo, that looks like the shit that you were the shit that he was playing that you were doing back then. You know what I'm saying? Like on stage, 2 mics, on beats, keep going, you know. I mean, theirs is a little bit more structured now with the rounds and shit, but like, you know, like,
yeah, no, that was still wild. But for me, it's also like the 30 seconds. But that's the thing, is you got to then be concise. Whereas when you do watch one of these 3 round fucking giant verses. It's basically like an orchestra of bars put together. It's a super different experience. It's like one of them
Yeah.
is like a TV show and one of them is like a Marvel movie.
Like, think about it. In 30 seconds, you can get what, like
I like
12
that.
bars off? That's a setup, punch, 6 fucking punchlines, drilling you with 6. Like, if you can hit all 6, remember
Well,
Swan?
you're thinking your rap pattern style, right? So like somebody else
Well, you
might
can
not.
punch and punch, so, but like, this is what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Like,
you
remember,
could in
like
12
Swan
bars. You
or Recognize, if you go and look back at like how they were battling, where they do the setup punch type shit, like, yo,
yeah.
you don't
Absolutely.
need that much to get to the point on your opponent, especially
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
could, because look at like a guy like Disaster when he raps long, like he cycles through 3 different styles repeatedly. Like he'll play like he's talking to the audience, he'll do some sort of a different voice, and then he'll get into being aggressive, then he'll go funny, then he'll do the same shit again, and it's like, I got it the first time around. Like, let's see what the other guy got. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like it being all drawn out.
You're
No,
not a
I don't
I
fan.
even
You're not
watch
a
the
fan.
ones anymore
You know,
because I don't
for
want to watch.
me,
I don't want to watch that long battle.
I can see the benefits of both. You know what I mean?
mm,
Like I've seen a couple. I've seen enough long round bar battles that I'm like, okay, you know what? It benefited because they got more and more cooking. You know what I mean? As it
But
kept going.
think about
Um,
this though. Think about this, right? Because think about what you are when you're at these battles, these amazing battles that they throw, even the best battles that have been thrown, these URL ones or whatever.
right.
At one point, I mean, we're all an audience member, and from going to a million of these and throwing a million of these everywhere, halfway through the event, motherfuckers get tired.
Facts.
And there's no way to break that up. There's never any way to break that up. By the time they're at the end, they are fucking tired. Even though they
Yeah.
want to see this battle that's been mounting, like, motherfuckers are tired doing that. So, like, my thing is, like, there's got to be a different way to present it live than to just be like, all right, guys, we're gonna have
you know
a
what's
million battles,
interesting?
and they're all 10 minutes long. Like, come on.
I went through that experience just the other. I went to my first rap battle, and I can tell you something. When the main event kicked in after watching 4 battles, and they were like really like back to back to back, right? Like they tried really hard. I had a lot of trouble caring about the last battle. It
Yeah.
wasn't like I didn't care. It was just like, whew, this is a lot of battling. And each one was 3 rounds. I think
Yeah.
there were 2 minutes,
Because, like,
maybe.
no matter if it's whack or not, at some point in time, because of the energy in the room, it'll raise your anxiety levels. So it's going to drain. It's going to literally fucking drain you to sit there and watch somebody. But if you do 30-second rounds over a beat, by the time you think someone is whack, they're getting destroyed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't got to be like, fuck, I got to sit through another 3.5 minutes of this motherfucker.
Yeah.
So I could see how that point like comes across too. Well, I don't know. Maybe there's a way to mix that shit up because sometimes these like daylight battles and stuff are highly enthralling, and I would really like to watch these long, elongated presentations.
Yeah.
But
I
then
mean,
the
well, it's
other
happening
side of it's
now. So
still
it's
also dope.
definitely there. There's a market for it. It's good that there is one when, like, there was a problem. There wasn't battle leagues back then,
Yeah.
So, like,
Right.
Yeah.
these are good
Now
problems.
I'm old enough to remember when grind time first came around, feeling a feeling of and speaking as a New Yorker, right? Like having this feeling of like, oh shit, I wonder how long battle rap will stick around now. Because like before then it was like we got to have the Blaze battles on HBO, and then it went away from like mainstream media, and then it came back and was like on uh I don't know if it was Fight Club that came first or 106 in Park that had the Freestyle Fridays first, but I think it was Fight Club came first. um but and then like that went away. And then matter of fact, yeah, I think Fight Club went away, and then later on, after Grind Time got cracking, is when Freestyle Friday came along or something like that.
Yeah,
But the
came back.
point is, or it might have been before it came back. I forget.
It's fair.
But the point is that it was a very up and down relationship with battle rap and like the mainstream. And like ever since Grind Time, battle rap has become essentially mainstream, and it hasn't stopped. You know what I mean? Like it's a part of the culture. It's its own subgenre within the culture. It's its own.
I think like I think it should be like it should be pushed outwardly by the bigger artists in the culture versus like everybody being a fan of the Battle League. Like, why doesn't Method Man say, hey, or Wu-Tang say, hey, we're gonna do a Wu-Tang Battle League. We're just gonna get 20 MCs. We're gonna handpick them. What if Wyclef said, I'm gonna get 20 MCs? What if fucking Jay-Z said, I'm gonna get 20 MCs? What if Nas said, I'm gonna get my 20 MCs? It's gonna be the Nas League. And like, what if all of the big artists that were out there who had the fucking bread to just like pick up 20 MCs and do a fucking league and then have them battle each other? Do you know how much crazier motherfuckers would be into on battle rap?
Yeah,
I would be very, because
that sounds like some Rucker shit. That sounds like some Rucker shit.
That sounds like, yo, now all of a sudden I'm gonna have my favorite rapper. But it's like a team sport.
Yeah,
and then these leagues would battle each other at different. You could have Jay-Z versus Nas at like a fucking their battle teams. Oh my god.
Yeah, that would be sick. Like then you have huge ass versus battle events.
Word.
Where you have these artists versus each other and the warm up is these like battle, like that would be fucking interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's but
Drake should have a Drake battle league.
Yes, he should. They have been more vocal and more lending their fame a little bit to battle rap, but it still is a serious leap that could be made to make it actually mainstream. Right now, it's just like that thing that everybody's aware of, that's in the know, and like if you catch it, like your favorite person, the rapper that like, you know, has a hit might like show up at like a URL or KOTD event and like, you know, post a Instagram story for a day about being there. You know what I mean? Like and you gotta hope that the fans really love them so much that they're that curious about that thing that they weren't curious about before, you know? So it there is definitely a major step that could be made for sure. But I mean, I think we are definitely in a way, you know, like it keeps on evolving, and the fact that it's still around now from where it was then, and like the question mark before that, you know, like we weren't. I like as a New York guy, I wasn't aware of Skribbal Jam or like a lot of those like what's the not Skribbal Jam? What's the missing tapes? WRCs.
Yeah.
Oh, WRCs. Yeah.
I wasn't aware about none of that, bro. When I first saw Grind Time New York and Jay's Juice was there, and I forgot what other two white rappers were there, I was offended. I was like, get the fuck out of here, bro. You know how many years I've been in these streets putting in this work? You know, like, nah, fuck out of here. But it was because a lot of us in New York still didn't really fuck with the internet like that. We were in the streets every day, and we, you know, like we had two-way pagers and Nextels, but like the internet wasn't really like where we were going. I didn't even when Smack first put that Math Hoffa, Iron Solomon first round on the DVD, and then was like, oh, head to you or whatever was the smack.com or whatever back then. I was like, I didn't watch the rest of the battle because I was just like, who the fuck has the internet? Like, I'm in these streets, bro. I'm in these streets. I'm moving. Like, we was the trap and like literally nobody had a computer. You know what I mean? Like, it was all hood dudes with no computers. Like, and we were not aware. You know, like, mind you, there were people who did have computers. You know, let me not paint this picture like no hood motherfucker in New York had computers. Because Poison Pen is, you know, certified, you know what I mean? And he was on the internet heavy and throwing events and was very well aware of all this. You know what I'm saying? But I was not. And there was a lot of guys that I know personally that were in the streets of New York City that also did not. I remember us watching that DVD on the DVD, right? And being like, oh well, like oh well, I guess we're not watching the rest of that battle. That first round was fire, yo. And us arguing about who won the battle off of the first round that was on the DVD and not watching the rest of the battle. And that was like it, like that, like it was a foregone conclusion that the first round was like the decider of the battle. We just all decided on the block, like, and it's not like we're talking about some nobody block. We're talking about like Peter Guns' block. You know what I mean? And like his son Corey is like looking up to like my homies who are like, you know, arguing about, you know, like this is what I'm talking about. And we like, it just so happened that nobody had computers. So like we didn't know about WRCs. We didn't know, you know, there's like all these people that are part of like the street New York City underground scene. You know what I mean? That are like moving in a way of like, yo, what? We're the creators of this shit. Who are all these people online? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? Where do these championships come from? Who sanctioned this? You know?
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
But it's I really do feel like it, to bring it all back.
When did we meet? When was the first time we met?
We met in person at that at the no, I think that we met a couple of, didn't you come up here for a few events once
yeah, I came up there.
We had the sponsorship with something, and I think you came up here for I think it was pretty early. PH was still president back then, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Because I came out there and did the first one. And
I wasn't at the first one. Sarah was early, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
And then we had some that were like, we had one at Fat Beats. We had
that was what I got offended at. I got offended at SoCon and Cortez. I was like, what the fuck are these guys? I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I'll watch both these motherfuckers right now, bro. Like, are you kidding me? Sarah was putting me on to grind time and like telling me about everything that she was getting cracking with PH and you guys, you know, and direct. and like I was just offended. I was like, what is this? I'm on the streets of West Fort, down by the fucking where motherfuckers play ball, where everything is cracking. I'm in the streets of the city battling everybody. Like, I never heard of these guys. I was like, but then I'm like, then I get in it and I'm like, this is a whole different world. Holy shit. Like, this is not the same thing as what we were doing freestyling lives. Like, once the cameras like and the footage was like definitively coming out and like the mixing of the written and the freestyles were happening, it was like, this is a very different bag. You know what I mean? Like, it was way different than like freestyling on the corner of West Fourth and like just like making fun of a motherfucker's outfit head to toe and like getting the crowd to laugh at them and shit. Like, it was very, very different, you know. But I did feel like because I remember being at Fight Club and being one of those early dudes in New York City that was like, everybody in New York City was coming to battle with written rhymes for like mixtapes and like video magazines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That it was like they had these like preset 16s, and they'd be like, you know, and I boom, fly off your fitted, and I'd be standing there like, bro, is you kidding me? Like, I clearly have no fitted on my head. What are you talking to me about right now? You know what I mean? And like, just like fucking going off the top, like just fucking dozens. You know what I'm saying? Talking shit, and like that was a thing that like I was one of the, like me, Sarah, a lot of our group of friends, we were the first ones really doing that. You know what I mean? So like when I saw that it was happening other places, I was like, no. And then, you know, that the ego comes into play, and it's like, wait, were they doing this before me? Like, no, but I didn't even know that they existed. I didn't steal nothing from nobody. I'll wash everybody. Like, what are we talking about? You know, ego, young ego shit, right? Like, but getting back to it all, you guys really did fucking birth what it is now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like a lot of shit still sticks around. Pay-per-view events. You know what I mean? Like we did that with Grind Time East Coast. You know what I mean? Like we brought that first pay-per-view to the table, and pay-per-view became the thing for like wild years. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh no, for real, it had a huge impact. So like, as far as like the Grind Time era, right? So you're running it down in Orlando with Direct.
Yeah, so hold on one second. Let me plug in my charger.
No worries. You went blue though for a second, and I'm gonna have to say you're the first person to turn blue on our show.
Oh, that's my light.
Yeah, the lighting went different.
Yeah, because if I don't turn on my regular light, you see my true colors. I'm talking Manhattan type shit. We didn't get. I think we had New York. Do we have New York before we brought California into the mix? I don't remember.
I thought that you guys already had. I thought that Cali was like in early, and we were like late. Last
maybe it was, because I remember California and New York were definitely our number one targets to have this thing explode. We had to break into those markets. Lush was talking to Direct, and he originally was supposed to be just like a chapter president type person. And then at the end of his video where he battles unorthodox phrases, he says like, and I'm the one of the owners or some stupid shit. Like whatever he says, like that wasn't like agreed upon at that moment. He just like blurted that shit out. And then Direct told me like, oh yeah, this guy wants to be a part of this. So at first I was just like, man, who the fuck is this dude doing this, man? Like, this is corny. But I specifically remember New York was a matter of, we need to get into this market. Frankie Waps and Jay's Juice already had proven that they would fly out to Orlando. They would fly out to the West Coast. They were active in the battle community. They were gonna put in work. So we had him come down to battle Johnny Storm, and they battled over here at a park downtown called Lake Eola. And that was kind of like the battle where we said, hey, he's going to be running the New York division, because we were at that, when we were blowing up on World Star, we were getting people saying like, hey, like, when are y'all coming out here? Whatever. And we already knew we wanted to be there. So it was just a matter of reaching out to our friends, all the people that I met at Skribbal Jam and known for throughout the years. It was kind of just like a matter of like calling each area and be like, hey, we want to do this. Hey, we want to do this. And then we started opening them up in as many cities as we could.
Word. Yeah, nah, definitely. Because it initially, I think, was just it was just the 4 divisions. And like I said, I think like New York came on last, but it was 4 divisions, and then it blew up, and it was like, it was wild divisions. I think there was like
There was
talks
Grind
of
Time
New Orleans
Boston.
division at one
There was
point.
the Upstate
Yeah.
division, Minneapolis. Then Atlanta came into the mix. Then we had a Texas one. We had two different Texas. We had Houston and we had like Dallas at one point. Then there was the Oregon chapter. Like there was it was. We had at one point we were in every major city in the United States.
Yeah.
Then we had Sydney, Australia. We had the Australia chapter division.
Oh yeah, there was
That's
like
huge.
an Australia.
And
That's
then we also had Johannesburg, South Africa. And those battles never got put out. Yeah, they were battling like in a fucking village, but it didn't go off that well, so we didn't put it out. But yeah, like we were fucking everywhere, man.
It's crazy.
That's super amazing. And like you're doing this because you got to keep in mind, like just in culture for anybody listening, like now when we talk about being everywhere, it's like whatever. You can hit up a motherfucker on Facebook and it's easy peasy lemon squeezy. These guys be doing this shit in like an innovative capacity where they may be some of the first people to be pushing international brands in a franchisable. You guys basically created a franchisable model.
Yeah, this was in the MySpace days.
But you guys did it at an international, scalable way in that era where it wasn't like you could read 18 books on this shit. This shit is like, you guys paved the like, because like I'm wildly into this geeky side of this shit. Like it's so fucking cool. And even just the idea of creating a franchisable model like that, it's like fucking stuff I want to do now. But like, you guys are doing it before the knowledge. But like that's huge for me, right?
You guys pioneered the internet battle league. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like before that, it did not exist. You know,
all of it.
Like,
and then like
so,
it's just really impressive, I guess is what I'm saying. At like every level of like the business side of it and just the cultural side of it, right? Because there are gonna be people that I'm like, yo, I got to interview Mad Ills, and it's gonna mean something to them. And like that's a like, you know, it's cool. Like that kind of stuff is why I really like doing this show, is because it's like I get to see your history, but like frankly, I don't know a whole lot of it beforehand. So it's like, damn, you're that dude. You know, like it's fun.
Yeah, well, yeah, every opportunity that I could get to try to expand somewhere, I was pushing it. Like okay, so you were firsthand, you were a witness to all of this shit. So like I was trying to get Grind Time Now as a program into a program at the UN called Music is a Natural Resource. It's a high level workshop at the UN that the head composer from the New York Composers League goes to. The guy that scores the Oscars and Grammys and shit like that, like, goes to it. There's all of these, like, the guy who invented guitars in the classroom by teaching kids through song, he goes to that. So I wanted to do this shit so bad, and I was able to get into. I was introduced via one of Just One's homie, or Guerrilla Republik. I think it was Just One's homie, and they had an organization that was able to like bring me along and be a part of it. And I was trying to like, when I was doing that, I was getting like backlash from battle rappers at that point for like trying to do different shit. Like I never got that. Like why did that happen? Like why did that ever happen? Like, and they would clown me. They would clown me for like you saw King of the Dot did a whole fucking like spoof on some interview I had got at Skribbal Jam when we had the last year of Skribbal Jam, when we had opened up Grind Time. Somebody was interviewing me for their video, and they were like, what do you want to do with Grind Time and like the future of battle rap? And I was like, I just want to battle everywhere. I want us to go everywhere. Like shit, you'll see us in a hot air balloon. And for years, motherfuckers made jokes about that. And then like I think the Saurus went and battled a dude in a hot air balloon, and they're like dissing me because of it. But like they got hella views off of that shit. That shit was so entertaining. It was just like
I actually watched that battle very recently.
That whole battle was a parody to say fuck Red Hills.
Just so that you know, so like a little bit of context, like we give all this fucking origin story behind who's like us two getting together. But like when we got together, right, and started doing this interview series, like Holden is from Montreal, you know, I'm from New York, and Holden's not, he's completely unaware of battle rap, bro.
So basically, let me put it like this. Like, somebody on my Patreon got me to review the movie Bodied. And up until the moment I watched Bodied, battle rap was something I did not understand. I found it, you know, it was negative. It wasn't my cup of tea, you could say. I didn't understand. But then I will never forget
I'm the
watching.
Only guy who should have been in there that wasn't in there.
But like, so I watched that shit, and I won't forget watching XOs, X-Hoes pop up on screen, and it was like, oh. And then like I watched the movie, and it really explains to middle class white people what the fuck battle rap's about extremely well. It spoke right to my soul. And I was but that like was not even that long before. It was maybe 6 months, a max a year before we started doing this show, right? So I saw that movie, and it helped me understand the culture of battle rap in a way where, like, you know, maybe gun bars is better than personals. And I'm like, oh, that's a really good point. You know, so it was a bunch of that shit. And then it was like, I was able to approach it with like the kind of open mind that like you would have. But then it was like, so you need to Google Iron Solomon. Go.
Yeah. Yeah, I leaned heavy, of course, you know, on the homies right here, you know.
AM Boogie.
Yes, AM Boogie, right. From EO Dub and like, you know, fucking Hami.
Holden, that was Iron Solomon's name.
Yeah, I think as he said it, I'm like, no, that makes sense, because we interviewed him, and I feel like I'd heard that name before. But that's like, it was a blessing, right? Because I didn't know who the fuck he was. I watched him, and then like people were excited about the interview coming. He had an man. The picture he sent me looked exactly like what I would look like in 10 years, and that shit fucked me up a little bit too. It was like, oh, and so, but like, yeah, no, it was a blessing. But then, so you know, then like Bones Brigante came, and other names, Poison Pen ended up coming, all these people. And so now I'm Googling every week, watching battles, learning a little bit here and there about, because I got to figure out battle rap at the same, you can't be talking to these people and I have to watch your battles, at least one. You know, like I can't be like walking in and not knowing a thing about you. That's just rude.
Right. Yeah. So, and it's been pretty, you know, like entertaining, like on my end, right? Like I enjoy it more than like, let's sort of say doing a show with like a super huge battle rap fan. Like, you know, like some, like, don't get it twisted, like not to say they wouldn't have anything to offer, right? Like you're a super huge battle rap fan. Of course you're going to have something to offer, but I think there's also something to be offered like to the people that are coming through as he's walking through his beginning of battle rap enjoyment journey, as he's like meeting people through this interview series that we do. You know what I'm saying?
Like high key, I care way more about your music. Like even like I could become the biggest battle, I'll still care more about your music, to be honest. Nice. Like I just want to drop the track with you, and I had already watched that music video, and it didn't really connect that this is the same Matt Ills that, you know, and then like I'm like, oh shit, I already seen this dude rap, because like, you know, and it stuck with me, because like the way I would put it is, you're like the guy all the contest rappers are trying to be right now.
Word.
And like it was like, because I noticed things like the flow and the way you rap, and then like when you look at your music across time and you see the versatility and in angles that you'll like, that shit is really cool for me. like, I mean, battle rap is also dope. I went to my first battle. I tried it out. I was an obnoxious crowd member, and that moment is gonna haunt me forever. Some shit got picked up. I'm gonna regret that for the rest of my life. Not really regret it, but like, but
That's
like,
funny.
it was fire still. So I was like, cool, but like, nah, the music's still more like the focus. So I think that part makes it cool because like that is a whole other side of your career that's running simultaneous to the battle rap. And I think if it was
Yeah,
just battle rap, people we might forget that, which is a good
yeah,
Facts.
point
definitely.
because you were actually dropping music throughout this whole grind time thing too, right? Because you started
Yeah,
long before it.
I've never. Yeah, I started dropping music immediately after I graduated from high school.
Mm.
I've dropped a lot of projects. I still, even now, like
What's your
I'm
number?
just
What
now
you on?
getting. What's that?
What's your number? What you on? What project number are you coming up on?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even know anymore. I'm not doing full projects anymore. I'm doing singles. I'm just
Word.
dropping singles. But like I got to deal with some guys up in Brooklyn. It's Other World Music Group. It's OMG. Um they're like there's some dope individuals, man. And the I believe the distribution goes through the same label that Lush One is on.
Word.
Um, and that the parent label for that distributes through the Orchard, Sony. So
Copy. Right.
so now what I want to do is get a catalog up through the Orchard, through Sony. So that way I can showcase my songwriting ability. So the first song that I actually dropped was this past month. It was called Toxic Love. And I'm not rapping on it. So
Word.
I'm getting into dropping all kinds of types of music to showcase that I'm a songwriter, because
Hey.
it's me evolving, through my life and my experiences. And like I'm not really trying to I'm really not trying to be out there like, look at me, I'm this rapper and I need this deal and all this money. Like I really have met all my heroes and have traveled to all the places that I thought I would want to go to in the United States. And like via hip hop and the culture, like I'm good, like now
Yeah.
I still want to put out bodies of work. And so this label is allowing me to do it pretty much at my own pace. I got a whole bunch of like rap songs coming, but I also want to show that like I could write other music.
That's awesome.
Word. Nah.
Yeah, man.
I mean, personally speaking, for me, I super respect it. I've always been that type of artist that like I'm not like I always was in the middle of growing up with like a lot of hood motherfuckers. The one hood motherfucker that's like, yeah, but like I'm not just gonna do that. And like I want to do like music and like songs that go on radio, and I want to rap on like some house shit, some fucking, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
and then like, which has evolved to now, like, like you said, like, doing, not rapping, right? Like doing other things on the music
Yeah.
that is just like, that's what you're supposed to do.
I mean,
Like, if
even
you're an
then, like,
artist, I think that's what you're supposed to do as a real artist, is evolve. But I
yeah,
also know that there's an art to the rappers that are also artists but don't ever really change their what they do and stick to that pocket, and they remain within that pocket like
Yeah.
their entirety of their career. I
I
respect
mean,
that as well. I'm
yeah.
not like, like I'm not
And they
not
can get
against
busy
that.
in that, you know what I mean? Like they can
Yeah,
get busy in their own
absolutely.
right on that. So
Yeah,
it's cool that they stay there in
yeah,
that lane,
yeah.
It's not a
But
bad
for
thing.
me, I'm like I want to grow artistically at all
Yeah.
times and try new things and do different things and challenge myself artistically. So like I could appreciate that. Like that's dope if that's what you're doing right now.
facts. I mean, I just like the idea of like the evolution part because I'm also like the more you learn how to sing, the more you want to sing. Like, I
Mhm.
don't know, I mean, like rapping, I mean, I like it and I will always want to, but like yo, now I got like range. There's like octaves that I can play. You know, all of a sudden you're like, what else can I do? What else can we bring to this toolkit?
Yeah.
How can and it just gets like it's like just getting more. It's like art, you know. You're just evolving it within it, but it's like just the challenge of it. Like if it's too easy forever, I get bored personally. So it has
Like
to like kind of be hard.
if I get an overwhelming amount of people that say like, "Yeah, what the fuck are you doing?" I don't fuck with that. then I might use that as like a checker to say like, okay, maybe I need to check myself, you know, in me being like experimented with what I'm doing. But like every time I set out to try to do something different, it just feels right, and it turns out to be something dope. You know what I mean? Like it's a dope feeling to be able to do that. So like, why stop? You know, like
facts.
And there's a lot of my homies and people that don't want me singing that say that, you know, like, why don't you, like, you're a dope ass double time rapper, like be aggressive. And it's just like, yo, how many years do I gotta rap about the government sucking for you? Like, I'm tired of doing that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to talk about like this fucking chick I was dating. We broke up and shit got fucked up in my life. Like, I need something else to let me do another outlet. You know what I mean? Like, let me.
That's how I felt. I felt like I don't want to keep on making super lyrical and fucking all this like rap like that's like cater. I'd like to make music for like women to enjoy and party
like
to.
no one can take
Like
it away
I
from me
want a
either.
song
Like
that
they can't.
women are gonna like get dressed to and get and play in the car ride on the way to the club. You know what I mean? Like I want that song.
Right.
You know? I want to.
It's not like nobody can jump in and say, "Oh, you doing love songs now? Like you can't rap." But it's like, no, I can still bite your head off.
Yeah.
So like,
absolutely.
like
you
I
definitely crushed a lot. Yo, I have a question though. What's a Guerrilla Republik?
Word. So great question.
That is a great question.
I don't know anything about it.
Guerrilla Republik they're a global organization now, of, how can I say this? They're activists, a lot of like social activism. In Delaware, there's, you know, brother works with the Marley family. He I believe he's a curator at the Delaware Museum. Does all kinds of community programs. Like Guerrilla Republik is really an organization and chapters in these different cities that spread awareness amongst its people and help people out. So we choose hip hop because that's a great vessel to get our messages through, and a lot of us are influenced through hip hop. So Rob Love is a Haitian man, and it's stems from the first slave revolt in Haiti, where the slaves beat out their masters. And that's basically what we're doing. So we set up to spread knowledge and information and keep people free in their mind. And there was a really dope underground network that Guerrilla Republik had set up at one point that we were touring through. We were visiting different places. Like I got to go onto an Indian reservation, the Leech Lake Reservation, and do like anti-Columbus Day festival there and perform. We went to the Bronx Museum one year and we filled up an entire room in the museum with coats. It was like a coat drive for the homeless. Mortal Technique performed there. There was a whole bunch of motherfuckers there doing that shit. Like Guerrilla Republik gets people involved. Like when you saw those people during the Occupy movement that were crossing over the bridge that were getting locked up, those people that were at the front, like the first 50 motherfuckers that were up there in the front getting wrangled up were Guerrilla Republik people.
Wow.
Like I love these people, man. They're everywhere. They're a part of everything that I do. Like I'm always, when I do lounge battles, when I do my shirts, the lounge battles is made by Guerrilla Republik. So they do everything from my gear to all of the stuff that I've been putting out. They pretty much any Mad Ills gear has been printed by Guerrilla Republic.
Okay. And so, from what I understand, you're a general within Guerrilla Republic, and that's what you had said before. And
I've just been putting in work. I've traveled around to the different cities and have put in work with those people. So I'm an event organizer. I was the largest hip hop event organizer here at one point. It's not so heavy in Orlando as it is like out in Delaware or Atlanta, where Rob Love, the creator of Guerrilla Republic, the founder, lives. He used to live in LA and it was big out there as well. But yeah, man, like anytime, like we're trying to work on an NFT project and I'm trying to head that up for them. Whenever there's ideas to be had, like I sit down with Rob Love. Like Rob Love is probably my number one mentor that helps keep me straight. Like when I first met Red Bull, it was through this tournament. Like he was there in Atlanta. We were strategizing, like talking ideas. Every time I have an idea for something, I always involve Rob Love. Like if you think about how Grind Time took off with its different chapters, like where the fuck do you think I took that from? From Guerrilla Republic, because they already had chapters set up in all these cities. Like they were already doing musically what Grind Time was doing for the battling. They were already doing that for the underground hip hop scene.
Wow.
Word. That's crazy.
And okay, so like a philosophical movement, they do merch, they just create awareness. So it's just like a collective of people that do a lot of different things and under the same banner with like more of a philosophical alignment. Yeah, that's wild cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That's the type of shit I really geek on. That's fucking dope.
Now, like you see Immortal Techniques logo.
Yeah,
that's Guerrilla Republic shirt. You know, that's everybody's cool with each other. They're fam with each other. We're along the same line of beliefs that Immortal Technique is on. So like,
no, it makes sense. So yeah, so you go through the grind time phase of your life, right? Because I mean, now we talked a bit about now a little bit, but what happened between grind time? What comes after that, I guess?
After grind time, I was burnt out. I sold Grind Time in 2017. I sold it to Fresco and a dude named Word of Play. They had a company called Young Republicans of America. And I think they were like the same dudes that was buying up battle leagues at that time. And so they tell me, they tell me that they want to preserve the channel. And that's the reason why they want to buy it. And they caught me at a time where I was really burnt out. I was in a crazy ass abusive relationship and I was just out of my fucking mind. Like I was literally going crazy. I sold it to them. And then I found out that like King of the Dot owns it all of a sudden. So either King of the Dot, more than likely they bought it and then turned around and sold it to King of the Dot. But in the midst of them turning around and turning control over to King of the Dot, they fuck up. I guess too many people are logging in and it raises suspicion to Google. So Google locks the account and says like, y'all can't get in here unless, you have the original email. And the mother email to the Grind Time YouTube account was my Gmail account. Well, I have nothing to do with the sale of Grind Time from Fresco trading it over to King of the Dot and them getting it locked. I have nothing to do with that. There's no contract that states that I have any kind of anything to do with it. I tried to get it unlocked just by like contacting Google, like saying that you're the owner, and then you have to verify that you are who you are. It says, thank you, we'll be in contact. And that's it. That's all it has ever done. Wow. So I've never, even if I wanted to try to unlock the channel myself, I couldn't do it. So like the channel is a ghost ship unless they found a way to get in it. Like nobody can get in it. It's been sitting like that ever since.
Crazy.
Yo,
like
super crazy.
Fresco,
like,
they had some beef with Moss Gelton, and I think they were taking battles down. They were doing some shit, and mad battle rappers were hitting me up at that time, and I was like, nah, bro, like I have nothing to do with this. So like I sell it, and pretty much from June 2017, I turn off battle rap. I don't care what goes on. I don't know who's big now. I don't know nothing. I haven't watched one single event since June 2017. I've watched a couple of rounds from battles here or there, but I haven't watched any events or been to any events since then. I went to one event in Miami a few months back, and that was just because I was in town. But like, after that, man, like I go through like a crazy ass like depression, like, and it's not from battle rap related. It's not entertainment related. It's just that I was stressed out from all of the shit that did happen from Grind Time, which wasn't the ending that I wanted it to be. But then I was like, yo, like the channel is being demonetized because everybody who was somebody that got on that channel ended up getting distribution, and they would go back and they would flag the channel and demonetize it. So like it wasn't making anything, even though it was like racking in views. I would have to turn around with a big ass budget to save it, which in turn,
are you saying like because all of the songs that you guys would play within, so these people would then end up getting signed, and then these labels would come and claim all of these videos, and you couldn't really do much about it?
Well, direct, the first company that he was doing was with a dude who was given like distribution deals. Like they were going back around to try to demonetize the channel. That was the thing that they were doing under the scene. Like they were getting the channel demonetized by getting people digital like distribution set up. And they would go back and claim those songs on the Grind Time Now channel.
Great.
Yo, that's serious. That's like
that's like that's
not cool internet moves. Like
yeah, and so, but that's the thing is like I don't get online and like complain about none of that shit. Like it just is what it is, and it happened that way. And I was already like in a bad place where I was at in a relationship that I was just like, man, fuck it, like fuck this shit. I sold it, and because motherfuckers are gonna talk shit while I had it, and then when I sold it, they talk shit about me selling it. So I'm just like, and it's just battle rappers. It's nobody else. There's nobody outside of the community of people who make fun of each other all day that are saying like, "Oh, you did a bad thing."
Cares. It's just battle rap.
Yeah, so like,
and battle rap fans are just like
battle rap.
They're as obsessive as like any obsessive fan group, which is just like too much. Yeah. And it's always like, you guys gotta relax, man. You gotta go do something.
Yeah,
you're way too involved right now.
Bro, after that, it gets like got pretty bad for me because I was just in a super fucking crazy relationship. I ended up going to jail. I got locked up. Like this chick lunged at me in my car, and I fucking like I stiff armed her, and she fell out the car, and I fucking took off. Bro, I got charged assault and battery with a deadly weapon for that shit. I was facing 5 years in prison for that move. So, like, what I technically should have done was get out of the car, and whatever the fuck she did, and I could have got her arrested for it. But like, bro, like, we're in the heat of the moment, we're arguing, and then she like fucking lunges in the car. Like, I just blocked her like this, and fucking she.
Yeah. You did a natural reflex thing.
yo, the police report says some wild shit. She says that I like held her and like drove around the parking lot and shit. And it's just like, yo, so I fought it. I got a lawyer. I fought it. And in order to save out from going to prison, you have to plead out. You plead guilty. They drop your charge to a misdemeanor. So that way I don't have a felony on my record. But because it was a violent charge, the felony still shows on my record. It just shows adjudication withheld. So if you go and look up my background, like if I'm trying to get a job, which I couldn't get for a hot minute because like that felony case shows up. So it was really fucking hard. But as soon as I got out, Red Bull really fucking supported me, and they end up booking me for to host the Denzel Curry versus Flatbush Zombies like in-ring battle event. So it was just me, Denzel, and Flatbush Zombies, and we were in a fighting rink in Miami, and there were like thousands of people around us. And I'm doing the commentating between them. I'm refereeing, doing the commentating in the ring with them. It's aired through, I think, Complex, and they had the hosts from there. They were there doing commentation on like off on the side. So like Red Bull like really fucking hooked me up and gave me gigs, and I got my own Friday night radio show as a radio host on an FM station out here. I did that for a good like 6 months. Like immediately when I got out, I got that show. And every Friday night we had cyphers. So when I came out, I was like, screw the battle community. I don't need to be there anymore. I can still gather people. I can still build a community myself. So I started doing that via the radio station, and I built up another following again. But this time around, I wasn't battling. They really didn't know me. They knew that I battled at some point, but like now people are knowing me for my music and my hosting and my event organization. And the newer fans that I get now, when they find out that I battle, they're like, what? It's fucking crazy. Cause it's like, if you ask somebody else, like that's all they know me as, you know what I'm saying? Like they don't know me. Like there was people that were hearing my Toxic Love song and they'd come back and say like, oh shit, you're a rapper? I'm like, yeah, I just put out this singing song. This is the first one ever I put out.
Word.
Like, I guess crazy,
getting
man.
a good reception.
So, yeah, so I just start doing things on my own and not really like not caring about trying to be a part of like any events or anything. But Red Bull's still showing love. People are still booking me. I'm doing shows with Free Daps. Free Daps is a crew of freestylers and improv artists. Were rated the #1 college show by NACA in the United States.
Hold up, so they like on Twitch.
Yeah, yep, Free Daps.
Yo, I know exactly who they are. I mean, like we raid into them when they used to, because I think they moved back to live shows, so they are no longer quite so Twitch centric. But during COVID, they like were doing a regular, and so I would raid into them here and there.
Yeah, that's my crew. That's I just did 30 shows with them this past month in April. Like we went all over the fucking place.
They are wildly coordinated. Like they know each other so well that they can bounce off of anything that they do. That's cool.
They came from Grind Time.
I had no idea.
Keys, Jordan Keys and Isaac Knox. They came from Grind Time. And then there's another guy who's a singer-songwriter named McNeese. Yeah, so those are my guys. You know what I'm saying? Like
Isaac Knox was pretty good. He was like one of back then. I think he ended up being like one of the top guys in Florida. No, like
yeah. I mean, I think he recently battled Johnny Storm and beat him. I mean, Knox is pretty much. I haven't seen really anybody lately bring it to him. Like he's insane. And because we tour and do this now, these dudes are sharp. These dudes are really, really sharp. Yeah, like they do this shit for a living. They're in New York tonight at the Caveat Theater.
Wow.
Yeah, they're doing a performance there. But like I do things with them, and now it's really about these NFTs and these NFT project that I'm coming up with. So that's kind of like, that's the next phase of where I believe everything is going, and that's where I'm going to dedicate the majority of my energy to.
Right. No, for real, dude. That's like, I don't know how much you can speak on the NFT part, but like your whole life is like when you read the business books, right? And they describe how you're supposed to reinvent yourself with the times in order to stay relevant. I mean, you done did that like over and over again, right? Like you're a little metalhead kid, you know, right? Playing guitar and shit. And then next thing you know, you're linking up with rich kids, getting yourself into situations where you're learning to make beats and producing music and doing all this kind of stuff. And then the next thing you know, you're a battle rap guy. And then, you know, that turns into, you know, pioneering a lot of internet shit along with the battle rap stuff. You're a promoter guy, festivals, like, and then you're like, nah, I'm gonna just go become a singer. Fuck all that shit. And now I like NFTs. Fuck battle rap. Not like in a bad way, but like it's like
Yeah.
you're never gonna be a boring dude for like the history. You'll always you're like one of those guys who will be like 87 and be like doing more relevant shit than the hip dudes.
I just think like, man, like, bruh, if I could go to the United Nations just off of trying to gather people to battle rap, I could do a lot more if I focus on other people. That, like, now I want to set something up that's not just for battle rappers. I want to set something up that's for artists. I want to set like what is happening now with the NFTs. We have a project that's called the Mommy Project. It's Mind of Mad Ills. My NFT collection is called Mind of Mad Ills. And the reason why I look like a zombie is because in my mind, we're in this post-apocalyptic kind of like world where all of our like heroes are zombies. And I have like a Biggie piece that I did. I do like a bunch of like different zombie pieces that's part of the collection. But anybody who buys any one of those NFTs gets in on the community that I'm starting to build. That's going to be the backbone for the Mommy Project, which is a total separate company. So the Mommy Project is going to be an art gallery. It's going to be a digital art gallery that manages these NFTs, and they're going to be 1,000 assets. So you're going to get 100 physical artists, so like painters, woodworkers, glass blowers, 100, and team them up with 100 musicians, so vocalists, producers, pianists, whatever. They do 10 pieces collectively. That's 1,000 pieces for your project. So now of all of these 1,000 pieces, each project you have 2 artists working together to help try to sell this piece to their people. But as an organization as a whole, we're trying to sell these pieces off to local government, corporate businesses to invest into the arts. So what happens when you make a purchase, and these 1,000, so if it's 1,000 NFTs and we're selling them for $500, we're talking about $500,000 project. Some of these sell for way more than that. So we're going to say at this point, until I can collect them all, we're anywhere in between $500,000 and $1 million project for these NFTs. So what the goal is to do is every purchase, it's a self-funded community building program for the arts. So there's a lot that's encompassed in it. Certain, like every purchase, there's a percentage that goes to local charity. It has to be local. Every purchase is going to be tied to a charity, and a certain percentage of it is part off for digital real estate in the metaverse and physical real estate. We're buying land to build tiny homes on for tiny living spaces with live gardens, with an art gallery that's going to house these NFTs and try to solve the housing crisis that's in Orlando, that's in Florida. Like, it's fucking crazy. Like, it's insane. Rent is insane out here. So there is land that is available, that is affordable, that you can develop on, and that's going to be better for the community. So these projects, they go to funding bigger ideas, and that's just one project. So I want to take this project, do it in Orlando, and there's enough people in Orlando and in these cities where you can do these projects quarterly and still have enough funds being dumped into it by different companies, and then take it to Miami, take it to New York, take it to, and all of the mommy project will be set up just like Grind Time chapters are, and they'll be managed within their own city, and there'll be a physical art gallery that you can go to and living spaces. So you can designate those for like what if the women that are staying at the battered women's shelter that like need help, like you might be able to fund a whole entire year's worth of living for them to get back on their feet, you know?
That would fly really well in Montreal at like at the mayoral level, like that kind of shit. Cause like you attach it to like affordable housing and you can make it a profitable endeavor to somebody or another. That shit would do really well here.
So I think that's kind of like the level of thinking that I want to be on as far as how I want to affect people on this earth, you know, because I'm a creative and I can't help but be creative no matter if life is good or bad. I'm still going to be making music. I'm still going to be doing my art. So now it's like, okay, any kind of a chance that I can get and I can put it towards something that would pay off in the future, not just for my own pockets, but like, so my daughter can have somewhere to be proud of and say like, yeah, like my dad built this, and have my family say like, yeah, like he really helped people out. Like I do not want to be the guy who works 9 to 5 his whole life and dies and a couple people love him. Like, as selfish as that might seem, like I want you to have a million stories when I die. I want you to say like, yeah, Ills did this, he fucking did that, he went over, like I was active. I didn't play around with my time, and I made sure that like I lived a full life, no matter how I end up when it's over.
I would say that that's not that selfish. It's just setting a bar that's super high.
Yeah, nah. And this is a journal entry. You know what I mean? Like the story out your own mouth type shit. You know, like that's why I've enjoyed doing this too. Is like, yo, I get to know all the homies better than you know, like it's crazy because it's like, yo, whenever we're doing some shit, it's just like the shit we're doing. And then we're just kicking the shit about whatever's going on or some other shit like that. You know, like rarely do we ever get to talk about like everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck?
That's why I like these types of interviews, because they're very open format. Like you could just when people have like a 1 hour time limit, then it's like, man, always we're talking about was battle rap. That's all we got to.
Yeah, exactly.
Nah, I mean, for me, it's like, in what like regular sense of life do I get to sit there and just talk to a whole bunch of experts in various fields about what they did to win? Like, yo, this is the best. This is like a great experience.
You need to write a book.
One day. That's like, I feel like I'm too young to be focusing on books right now. I want to be out there at like rap events and stuff, and then later on in life when I'm a little more, I don't want to leave my crib. That's the book writing season.
How old are you?
Now, I'm 34.
Okay.
Like, I'm 34, but like I did not go out and party much, and now it's like I'm in Montreal, and you might not know this, but we had curfew for like 6 months during COVID, as in you couldn't leave your crib past 8 p.m. for real. Like, it got really weird, so we got like cooped up for like 2 years, and about 2.5 months ago, the city opened. So we be like out, and it's like very nice. But in general, it's like there's a lot of living to do, and then I don't know. I feel like your 40s is book writing time. You gotta like settle down a little more. That it
Got
just
you, got
doesn't. Or maybe when I'm in my 40s, I'll push it back again. But right now, I feel like I'm not. It's not the right time of life to be sitting there for 8 hours a day working on a book. Nah,
Nah.
not yet. One day.
Yo,
But nah. In the
speaking of
meantime,
books, shouts
oh.
to this Brian Kaiser dude that did PH's book, right?
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah. He spoke to everybody, yo. I gotta read the actual like book. I just got it like this week, and I'm not
That's
a book
dope.
reader, so I gotta start setting aside time. But yeah, shouts to him and anybody who wants to know more about PH. I recommend they pick it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna cop that because I'd be a big time reader. And
You be a big time reader. Holden is a
not,
big time reader. He reads wild books a year.
yeah,
I do
Who
not read
does?
books.
I do.
Holden.
What
All right.
happened was I don't know if you know who Ty Lopez is, but that dude
Yep.
at one point said CEOs read 60 books a year. And I said, oh, fuck, I want to be rich like that one day. So if that's the habits they have, I must learn how to read wild books. So
Yeah.
I set that as a challenge, and it took me 3 years. And then it was like, I don't know that I'm going to try hard to read 60 books again in a year, but I did it in 2020. That shit was hard. It was like vacation times was just books. And then like it was amazing though, because it really it taught me to communicate better and listen better and remember better. And then you all of a
There's a good
sudden
book.
can follow everything in a conversation because you just know enough about enough things that like you can be like, okay, that makes sense to like everything.
Yeah.
And then it's just fun. Like you just learn shit. And yeah, I like that a lot.
You should read Psycho-Cybernetics.
I don't know what that is, but it's a hot title. Shit, I like that.
Psycho-Cybernetics is a book by I believe his name is Maxwell Maltz. He was a plastic surgeon in the 60s, I believe it was, and he was trying to come up with ways to help his patients cope with their self outlook, because these people who went and got these plastic surgery operations, they're super like no procedure was ever enough, they always needed more. So he got into like psychology on a level of like, how do you help people deal with this? And they talk about a bunch of different kinds of exercises that they do. They talk about the dopamine in the mind and going into a blackout state. And this particular book is a book that Tony Robbins said that inspired him. That George Carlin, the famous comedian, he was quoted saying that like this book is the book that changed his life. Like it's a really dope ass book, and they talk about the different types of exercises that you can do in your mind to like help you get through shit, help you enhance your awareness. Like it's a really dope ass book. And there's an organization in St. Pete in Tampa that they update the book. And so there's like a running update of his work.
It's on Amazon. I was like, I already typed that shit in, looked at it. I'm like, got this shit on the list now.
Yeah. Psycho-Cybernetics. Y'all pick that book up.
No, for real. I'll probably read that shit. That's basically how I pick books. I try to not let myself really pick books, because if I did, it would be terribly redundant. So I just be reading. I don't know where I get books sometimes. Like I'd be like, I don't know how I got this or who picked it or how it ended up here, but then I'll just read the shit because it could be the most boring motherfucking book I ever read in my life. But you know what? Nobody else gonna be reading that shit, so it could be useful. Write a song about some shit on that. It's kind of like fashion in a sense, right? If I learned anything from Flacko in New York, it's that if you can get some shit that's really hard to find, that shit's hot. So I try to do that with knowledge.
Got you. Got you.
It's
That's
actually
funny.
it's effective. But so aside of the NFT stuff, what do you have coming next in your world?
I have enough songs where I could do a release every month for the next about year and a half that are just like in the can.
Wow. Been working
But
hard.
yeah, I still continue to record. I'm creating a lot of these NFTs to set up for the future. So a lot of NFTs have music in them that I'll never release. So if you own the art piece, you own it, and you can have an exclusive song that nobody else has. So I'm just loading up a whole bunch of NFTs with that. And it's really, I believe that the NFT project, the Mommy project, is going to take up the majority of my life. Like that's going to be a big project to
Right.
see through, because there's a lot of pieces in that, and it's going to take a super fucking crazy dedication, more so than it was with Grind Time. Like it's going to take a lot, but I feel like that I'm up to that challenge. So that's going to be it. That's going to be what I'm focusing on.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's like you took everything you did in your life and then you applied it to how can I save the world? Yo, that's
I think
pretty
it adds
next
up.
level. That's pretty next level with it.
Yeah, nah. You're trying to help people. It's always important to try to help people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like as much as you can.
Yeah.
Within
Yeah.
means. Within means. I'm always like within means. Don't kill, because you can't give away your house and home in attempts to house the homeless, because then
Right.
if your mental state isn't in a good place, then you're not in a good place to help people,
Right.
and you got to take care of home before you can help everyone. But once you take care of home, like take care of everyone as much as you can, take care of as many
Facts.
people as you can, and do as much good as you can.
And also the fact that it's like scalable and everything. It's everything. You just find the right angel investor and it's over.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we the people that we have with their eyes on this right now could be a it's over situation. So I'm really working at refining what we're doing and setting up the system for it to be easy and not be rough, because of course right now the NFT market, a lot of shit is down. A lot of people are scared of it. Like we definitely want to come out and say like, look, this is our project. This is exactly why you need to buy these things. It's not a scam. It's not anything. Like there's a lot of shit going on that's like fucking people up in the NFT world because they just don't know about it. So we're set up to educate people. So when you get into our community, it's some serious shit. So everybody
I wonder if a guy like CoffeeZilla doing like a positive piece on you would influence people. Because that dude be tearing down everybody. It's a scam. So it's like to find those guys and then have like those people comment on it. I'm like, yo, that would make me believe your project without even thinking deeper.
Right. Like, and that's why I feel like this NFT world, this crypto world, I really think finally, out of all the work that I've done my whole life, like technology's finally caught up to the idea that I want to have for building a platform. Like I feel like I'm built for this, because even with Guerrilla Republic, we've been building, even with Grind Time, we've been building communities since we first started, since Lounge Battle, since 2003. Like I've been just building platforms on whatever it is I could get that was there that at the time that was popular. I was able to get on it. Like we were able to get on YouTube rather early and pop out, you know what I mean? Like, so this is the next wave. And now it's like, I can I can set up these digital contracts and be physically tied to the work that I put in without having to worry about someone like Conceited blowing up and never coming back and helping anybody out. Like, and I'm not like calling the dude out like that, but that's just the mentality. Like, you get so busy in your own work that you're living your own lifestyle, and like has nothing to do with where you came from anymore. So now it's going to be like, hey, we're going to build you up. We're going to help you sell your pieces and manage them. But there's a digital contract there. So we're tied to it for life. We benefit off of it for life, so we can help benefit charities. So that way nobody gets greedy. Nobody says you said this or you said that. Like, it's all there. It's all digitally in the contract. It's not executed poorly. Ours aren't. So it's a very real thing. So I feel like because of all the people that I've met and all the different places I was able to get to, I can now reach out to some really big hitters who are into this community deep that would help make this a very, very real thing here pretty soon.
That's super fire.
That's dope.
Yeah, I appreciate everything you shared, man. Like your entire story is interesting. Like, not everybody goes 2 hours and 40 minutes is all I'm saying. Usually at that point, like,
I was wondering, I was like, tell me we got time, bro, because I can do this. We could do this.
Nah, that's I think that's it right there, right? Like, I ain't in no rush. Like, Holden's not in no rush. Like, it's like let the conversation lead where it may. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, some people are in a rush and they want to like get in and out, and it's like, okay, we could hurry it along, you know. But like, if you want to, like, if you got the time for us and like to give us all the details, we want the details. You know what I mean?
everything,
Like,
man. Because like it's like basically this is like, from like a whole other way to put it, like Flacko ended up in a book on some shit like this. This is all like that. This is just the conversations that lead to books one day. Like, you don't know that something like this doesn't get sourced by some guy that's looking for information and then puts this as like an actual source in a book and shit. Like, nobody knows, but somebody has to like create those moments so that people can like find them. Because sometimes it is way too love and hip hop oriented.
And see, this is kind of like, this is why I'm glad we have this time, because you were there as actual staff for Grind Time. You know what I mean? Like, you were definitely part of the movement and seeing like how it came together. Like, what the fuck? Sorry, it says that my phone's not charging, and I just put should be charging. Like, damn, where was I at?
Flacco's a Grind Time staff member.
Like, I'm glad that, and you personally, like, there's a lot of shit that happened with Grind Time. There's a lot of bad shit that happened with it, a lot of behind the scenes shit that happened with it. Like, it's just, it is what it is, and it's very hard to tell a complete story in such a small time frame when people are asking you the same exact questions every single interview. Like, every time I get asked about Grind Time period, it's always the same exact shit, and I'm just like, man, like, I don't get a chance to tell a full story. So it's just like that's the reason why PH was still fucking with me till the very end. Like, I opened up the account, I showed him what was going on behind the scenes in Grind Time, and like dude was right. That's why Poison Pen was with me. Like, these were my guys.
Yeah, we were essentially like going down with the ship. You know what I mean?
Bro.
Like,
so it was like,
New York is a loyal people, B.
Man.
Like, yo, you don't ever
York.
disrespect me. Like, I'll never like be disrespectful. You know what I mean? Like, that's how.
We never had an issue. I don't think we've ever had an issue.
Not at all. Not at all.
Plus, it's like, I mean, personally, I don't have any connection to whatever bad happened, and I don't want to be sitting there being like, let's dig into the drama of all the bad shit that happened in Grind Time, when I might just have to talk to any of these people in the future. Like, I just want to be that guy. So it's more like, what's your story?
That's how I look at it for everybody, man. Like, I just want to hear your life story, you know what I mean, from your mouth. Because, like, I remember sitting here with Holden and getting mine out, and I'm like, yo, that was. Did I just actually just give my whole life story? This great. You know what I mean? Like, we started from when I was young, essentially. Like, word.
But
let's
Holden,
walk through that whole shit.
Like, there were three owners of Grind Time. It was myself, Lush One, and Direct.
Right.
Okay. I caught Direct. I caught Lush One stealing very early on. Very early on. That created turmoil between us. And then when we were in the Rock the Bells tour, Direct admitted to me that he had took sponsorship money and wasn't turning it in. There was money that was going missing from the door at events in Cali that was Lush's responsibility. There were, and I'm not going to name the divisions that were doing this, but there were divisions that weren't supposed to be charging for certain things that they were doing to make money. Like, the cameraman's not supposed to be charging the battle rappers money on the side to get their shit edited. Like, there was supposed to be funds already set aside for an editor, at our peak. And other people were using it as a hustle because they work with Grind Time to make side money off of it. And that was kind of messing up, because when things went south and people didn't get paid, who they're going to blame? They're going to blame the people at the top. And then the people at the top start pointing their fingers as to who's to blame. And it's like, I have the receipts. My name was on all of this shit. So, like, I'm the one that was keeping track of the funds. And when I say, like, oh man, some shit's missing, and I find out that you took it, then we got problems. So, like, the YouTube channel checks, the Google checks were coming in my name. They weren't coming into the company's name. They were coming into my name. I was taking it and splitting it with these guys. This is before, like, the LLC was really formed, and we never really even changed it over. So, like, the way that we handled the money was super horrible. When I caught him stealing, I was like, look, I'm not sending any more money. I'm not cutting these checks. They turned around, and one quit at one point, the other quit at another point, and then they tried to sue me for $1 million. So I was lawyering up, and then the lawsuit went away. And then they were like, that was during a time when I was doing an interview with Complex, or was it Complex, or was it Hip Hop DX? I was doing an interview with them when I got, like, a letter in the mail. I was literally on the phone with the dude from Hip Hop DX, and I was checking my mailbox, and I'm like, yo, these motherfuckers are trying to sue me for $1 million. And I told the guy that did the article, if you look up my name, you look up the Hip Hop DX interview, that was the guy I was talking to on the phone. I was like, don't put this on the record. He's like, nah, it's all good, bro. We're just going to talk about battle rap. And then, like, the whole story is about how Matt Ills is being sued over Grind Time. So, like, that's when I got pissed at Hip Hop DX, and I was just really like, man, everybody's like getting crazy over this shit. And I'm like, why am I the bad guy because I caught people and I didn't, like, you wanted me to keep my mouth shut? Like,
yeah.
When we had the t-shirt deal with Orizu Clothing, and they had the old, like, Schoolhouse Rock logo type shit, and it said Grind Time Now that we were wearing at Rock the Bells, we didn't even know about that. Me and Direct didn't even know that they had set that up. Like, Lush One brokered a deal with Orizu Clothing, and I didn't even know. I didn't see no money off of it. I found out the day we were setting up at Rock the Bells when I walked by the Orizu Clothing tent and I see a bunch of Grind Time shirts, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck is this? And the guy at the tent's like, that's the Grind Time people let us, like, we have some sort of deal with Grind Time. I'm like, with who? And it was like the owner. And I'm like, I'm the owner. And they said it was Lush. So I was just like, yo, what the fuck was going on? So apparently we were supposed to get X amount of shirts to sell, plus some sort of money that, like, I never seen. And I was just like, yo, what's going on? And Lush One he had that company at Coconuts Entertainment or some shit. He started running Grind Time business under another LLC. And so he was doing some weird shit. And so, like, that's when it was just like, all right, man, like you're not reporting any money that you're bringing in or putting out, and then I'm being blamed for people not getting paid. So like we're gonna have to figure some way out. And then he dipped off of Grind Time.
Right.
But I was more of the asshole of all three of us as owners. I wasn't the guy that you could get over on. So it kind of, when it was their turn and they tried it, then I was just like, nah, I can't. We're not gonna play these games this way. Like that, I get very serious very quick when it comes to people trying to do something real slick, you know. And it's like, we had the perfect opportunity. We were at the top of the wave.
Right.
Why do we have to mess this up? Like, there's no need to steal from anybody. There was no need to do any side hustle work. There was no need for nothing. Like, we were getting booked. Every major magazine touched on us. We were in every major music festival. We were at the top. Like, the traffic that we got was completely organic. We bought 0 ads. Like 120 million organic views is fucking ridiculous. Like, those fans are way more than just like getting 1 million views on reels. Like, these were like hardcore fans that were on our website buying from us every fucking day. Like,
Is there people that are still making compilations of your shit probably to this day?
Yeah, I mean, well, they brought back Grind Time. I believe Disaster and Lush did it, and they brought in Direct on it. So they're bringing it back. I guess they're resurrecting it under, it's called GTNX. Is that right, Flacko?
I think it's GTX.
GTX. I think it's GTX. Yeah. So I'm not. I saw a trailer for it. I saw some pictures of the actual event. Like they have good battlers there and they're doing things with it, but it's not, you know, whatever they run it as is not the Grind Time that it was. Like, they're trying to do something else. It's not with my involvement.
Yeah, nah, it looks like it's a new channel and everything.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's cool. Like, I don't have to prove anything to really any of those guys that still talk down on me. Like, my goal when I was growing up was to have the opportunity to be able to battle and go to different places. And in my mind, I created a whole fucking world of it. Now there's a battle league in every fucking city.
That's facts.
It's like
multiple in some cases. Plus, there's battle leagues that are on the internet now.
There be battle leagues in places that I'm like, what? And like the battle leagues, like inside somebody's mama's basement. It's just like,
there's like a battle league here in Orlando that like the people don't know the history, and they think it was started by like whoever guys are running it currently now. Like, it's wild. Like, it's everywhere. So it's like, my job was done. My job is done as far as my hip hop culture is concerned. Like,
I mean, you left quite a significant market impact. Like,
yeah, nah, you guys fucking left a indelible mark on battle rap. Like I said, like, you know, I mean, we all did, right? Like, I'm not shy of like, cause I'm the one that through the rap forums on rap music, you know, the battle rap forums, talking with some dudes, I forget who, and they were the ones that were like, you know, fucking battle rap nerds that love this shit and like were with the first streaming for pay-per-view online company type shit. Like, they were developing the first shit, and I was just like, I just brought it to Penn, like, yo, we should do this for one of our events type shit. And that way people could see it live. And, you know what I mean? And we did that. And then look, you know, years later, and that's adding on to already a legacy that got built with just like league divisions, 3 rounds per a minute round. You know what I mean? Like things that like will never leave the stratosphere again now. You know what I mean? That you
Yeah.
guys cemented. And then here we come, you know, adding on little things ourselves, you know, and doing what we're supposed to do, right? Like
rap leagues didn't even have slogans under their names.
yeah.
Like Grind Time, the world's largest battle rap league, like that spawned everybody having some sort of slogan to put after the title of their name.
Yeah.
Like
Big
show
facts.
me a battle company or battle whatever that has a slogan.
Nah, nobody was doing slogans. Nobody was doing slogans. Absolutely started with y'all.
Like it's just funny how it developed in the time that it did, and it's dope too. Like I had a first class ticket, a front row seat to like the dopest shit that I wanted to happen, you know, as far as like battle rap, and where it's like there's nobody that I can't meet that like had anything to do with battle rap that I haven't met before that had something to really do with battle rap. You know, like I've met them all and worked with them all and feel happy about what I've been able to contribute just as a fan of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Because like now, like there's an infinite amount of places that one can go to express themselves. Like, yo, battle rap leagues are the coffee shops of hip hop. You think about that, you know, like people are able to gather now in places where like they never were able to before, in a way they were never able to before. And not to say that they weren't physically able to do it, it's just that nobody was doing it collectively.
No, now it's like pretty big. Like it's
they were
reached the
definitely not
point
filming
where
it and posting it and keeping track of like wins and
Right.
losses, and you know,
now that's a prerequisite for the culture. You know what I mean? Like now you have to do that in order to say that you did anything.
right.
So
really...
that I'm extremely happy with it, because I do get to tell my story and it is documented. Like you can go back and look at the footage of me being there in the very beginning and meeting all of the people I said I meet. There's nothing that I talk about that you can't look up footage on, you know what I mean? So I'm pretty happy that I was able to grow up in this time and like blow up when we did. Like it helps me in the future from when I'm like using it as reference points to like what I've done. So I've definitely enjoyed the ride.
I say it's an impressive CV of life.
Word, nah, it was a fucking right. Like I look at this as like, yo, the car ride through the journey, right, of the story and shit. You know what I mean? So like pleasurable fucking trip. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a pleasure to be in the car with you.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like
we've already been on for enough time for us to take a trip from Orlando to Miami.
Say word. That's an interesting frame of reference I never would have thought of, but that's nifty.
Yeah, we took a road trip.
That's amazing.
We drove from New York to Philly. Maybe we hit the Poconos. Matter of fact, you know, the Poconos depends on the traffic. Big facts, bro. Like that. This was. Thank you so much. Cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
for taking time out, and you know what I'm
man.
saying. Like, it's been a pleasure. You know what I mean? Being your friend throughout all the years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, likewise, bro.
You know, I wish you nothing but prosperity and, you know, continued success moving forward. Like, I doubt that you know what I mean, need it. Like, you don't need no like luck or anything like that. Like, you did quite a good job thus far. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm pretty sure you keep on doing a good job without my good lucks. You know what I mean? Like,
yo, who's that can't, like, who is that says that they're here?
That's Danny. She's the executive producer.
Right. That's our executive producer. We're on the EOW End of the Week Zoom network. and like this was started all back when Vice Versa's, rest in peace, passed away, and Danny is his sister, and
Oh,
and also the producer of the show. You know what I mean? Like
oh, that's super dope.
she's
Right.
like she's the third member. Like she's
Yeah.
been with us from the first episode. She's been supporting us like from the
Facts.
jump out the gate. Like always, singing our praises and like giving
Infinitely
us like
wise.
infinite wisdom and feedback on the side. You know what I mean? Like she
Yeah.
don't play the like baby us. Like she'll tell us the things that she don't like. You know what I'm saying? So
Facts.
like
That's dope.
yeah,
That's
like
dope.
producer, but like also like EO Dub family and yeah.
Yeah, shout
So
out EO Dub.
Yeah,
mhm.
absolutely.
Just remember, the very last EO Dub event that was thrown in Florida, in Orlando, I won it. I am the EO Dub Orlando champion. Nobody has
Word.
dethroned me. Nobody.
I
Woo!
didn't even know that they did EO Dub in Miami. That's wow. Yo, there's
In
so
Orlando.
much there in Orlando. There's so much EO Dub history that
Oh
this
yeah.
this is why I really love doing this though. You know what I mean? Is like I'm when we first started, Holden used to say that we're creating your Wikipedia page. And
Facts.
I think it's more along the lines of like we're like creating like a whole like index, uh
Mm.
just like it's an encyclopedia, you know what I'm
This,
saying?
you
Well,
know,
that's what Wikipedia is. Genius.
this is
Jesus
how
Christ.
this is how connected I am with EO Dub, right?
This is why I need to read more books. You see?
Remember I was telling you when I was in high school, I was going over to the colleges and battling.
Right.
Well, Webified went to college out here, I believe, and he was there during those times. And I wasn't personal like boys with him, but like we were in that particular part of the scene together.
Right.
And then every time I've come out to New York, I've done something at EO Dub. Like every time I was on tour, like I always have love for EO Dub, man. Like that's one of the favorite places to go when I would come through and we'd be on tour, we'd be doing grind time shit. I'd always be like, yo, what's up? What's going down with EO Dub? Like, let's go.
That's fire.
It was dope. Yeah. What was it? Big Zoo?
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. Zoo, one of the founders, Big Zoo, Propane, and Vice Versa.
Yep, and Vice
My
Versa.
fault.
Yep.
There was a comment in the EO Dub chat, and somebody I think was saying to you, gonna be heading out to New Mexico in the next few months. Might want to join efforts with the Tiny House Project. Got to check some land out that way. We'll hit you up and burn some trees before I head out.
Yeah, we could do that. My goal is to build this in Orlando and then go stretch a little bit out, but like look into places where there is like a kind of like a housing crisis going on. Like it's horrible in Orlando right now. It's the worst place for rent.
I just finished the news. Just finished coming across my digital social media in the last like week of like the amount of like housing crisis that's happening in Florida and people moving out because it's becoming one of the most expensive places to live. And
because like these investors are buying up all the properties. There's no inventory. They're buying up all the properties, flipping them and reselling them for high prices. So like there's a shit ton of buyers and there's no inventory. So like that's what's happening right now. And people are paying ridiculous amounts, rents going up like crazy. Like it's getting crazy out here. Like you see a lot of people in single family homes are roommate situations because like it's just fucking getting crazy. Like even at an 80K salary, you're still struggling. So it's like, yo, what is going on?
The person commenting said that they're Van Meter. I don't know if like that, you know.
Oh, yep.
Word.
Cool.
Word.
Yeah,
Word.
she's dope.
Oh, word. She's been here the whole time.
Oh yeah, she's super ill. She's a super dope person.
Word.
Donna, shout out.
Shout out Donna.
Word. Shout out Donna.
Shout
out,
man.
Shout out to you though, bro. Straight up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And just to make sure,
Thank
we
you
also
so much
shout
for
out.
your time. Word. And
I
shout out.
appreciate
Go ahead.
all the people watching too on the different live platforms, right? Because
Word.
those people that are here with us that are commenting on all the different places, y'all make it feel like a show. It's better than just when nobody's commenting and stuff. And shout out end of the week, because we have to shout out end of the week. We on their platform. We in their house right now. So always big love to end of the week.
is the culture. They are the culture. Like they've
always
always been the culture and will be the culture. So like anything that has to do with EO like I'm in it. I'm in it.
Facts.
And I appreciate that stills. And like, you can find all their stuff at eodub.com, eodub.com, and then you can find all their platforms there, and it's the easiest way to like make that happen. And I just think it's cool that you shared everything with us so candidly, just everything. That makes it's really cool. These are like the more rewarding ones, so to speak. Not to say that any of them are bad, but like sometimes they're more rewarding than other ones.
Right.
So I appreciate you sharing with us like that and giving us such a piece of the history of your life like that. So
yeah, man. I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you for having me on. I'm here, bro. I'm in Orlando. So
did you give your social media?
It's everything is Maddills, Maddilz. Like I respond more on Instagram. I just started Twitter because of the whole Elon Musk shit. Maddills NFT. I just started it. I just started like posting up my NFT. I was waiting for it to pop off, so I started posting. But like, I literally just like, I think I opened the account in March and I just let it sit because I was on the idea of like, I need this. So I pulled off Maddills NFT and just let the account sit. And then I just recently started posting shit. So that's where you can see my art. But yeah, everything is just Maddills. If it's TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, it's Maddills, Maddilz. If you want to take a look at my NFT collection, it's OpenSea.io/Maddills, Maddilz. OpenSea is, of course, one of the more famous platforms that people are selling your NFTs on. Just search Maddills and you'll see the Mexican goat.
Amazing. So yeah, I appreciate everyone for coming through. Shout out all you one more time.
Shouts to everybody who
and I
came
guess
in and checked in.
Live long and prosper, everybody.
We're here every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Fact.
Take care, y'all.
All right.
Take care.
Peace.